Hey, it's Movie Junkie John back again, and back with us is Vito Trigo.
Hello.
Hello.
Pow.
And today we're discussing a couple things. First, it's Cobra Kai, and I would say the Miyagi verse around Cobra Kai.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
That's a good way
everybody's
to
in the
put it.
multiverse. And I guess the second thing we're going to be going over is really the WWE storylines and situation going into WrestleMania. I can't just say wrestling because I don't really talk about AEW, but this will be WWE focused. So yeah, I guess let's start with Cobra Kai. Um, so how did you start with Karate Kid as a fan? What was that like when you're little? You discover Karate Kid. What was that journey like for you?
I mean, I think it's like what was it? 'Cause I was born when it came out. It was 84 when it came out. I was born 84.
Hmm.
So I had like this maybe like a Neo relationship with it, where I was like uploaded.
Right.
Like you got one and two in like one quick dosage, and sometimes as a kid I was trying to figure out where the timeline was even then because you would like see part two on television
Hmm.
and then you would see one maybe,
Yes.
and it was just like putting the pieces together a little bit. I mean, that this is like speaking from like a neurodivergent point of view of things, where I was like, wait, what is this movie, and piecing it together because like I mean, because part two was pretty prevalent and pretty like, up there, and then you had the cartoon show that was out there for a bit.
Hmm.
So it was just I don't know. Getting into the Karate Kid verse was a very jumbled mess, and the only thing you could really like sink onto was like wax on, wax off, paint the fence, crane
Hmm.
kick, like the staples of the series was really what you could cling on to.
Yeah, I think I started with. I mean, I saw the first one. I don't remember when, and I remember a lot about part three. Was a kid. I don't know why seeing it on TV. I just that one always is like the one I immediately think of. Two, I remember seeing not liking it as much, but yeah, Karate Kid is one of those things. I think as a kid I liked.
Oh yeah,
I didn't obsess over it. I think as I've gotten older, it's become so important to me. I
oh
think
yeah.
like I don't know what it was. Maybe in my 20s, I started rewatching them, and I was just like, "This is a great. This whole thing is great, right? The franchise." So yeah.
I don't know if I have like this strange attraction to the oddball sequel. From like our prior discussions, like Halloween 6, I have a lot
Yeah.
of affection for,
Mm-hmm.
and Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome I love Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. You
Right.
know,
Same. Yeah.
which some people be like that's the oddball to them, and I'm like I love it, and like Karate Kid Part 3.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it was about Karate Kid Part 3, but I love Karate Kid Part 3.
It's great. Yeah.
I, you could I mean so I think that was the first one I really digested.
Yeah.
That was the one I watched and I was like, yeah, especially like with the character of Terry Silver, who's this freaking like I don't know, he's like a Bond villain.
He really is.
He's
He's
a Bond
crazy.
villain in he's a
It's
Bond villain in the Miyagi verse, you know, who's just so like enjoys creating chaos. He's like this agent of chaos that just like just like it's just like loves it so much that
oh
you just
yeah.
love watching him. You know.
Yeah, Thomas Ian Griffith is such a he's really good at playing like just really bad guys like John Carpenter's vampires. He's the Valak, the head vampire.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
oh yeah.
he's really good at just being kind of despicable, like and not in a cool way, in a way that you're just like I really hate this son of a bitch.
But
So,
he's also a charming son of a bitch too,
yeah,
which makes his bad guyness very very, very like attractable because like he's just
he's manipulative for sure.
but he also has got that screen presence about him because he's got that confidence of actually being a martial artist.
Right. Yeah.
Because he's legit. He's like legit.
Mhm.
So that transition into acting must have been like because like when you see him in Karate Kid Part 3 was his first movie.
Was it? I guess it
Yeah,
was. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. It was
Huh.
his first movie, and he's a year younger than Ralph Macchio.
Wow. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, yeah, and it's just the presence of it. You don't deny it because of like his presence on screen. You
Right.
believe that he's somebody older, that he's actually friends with, Kreese, who went to Vietnam, who's like got a bit of a decade on
Oh
on Thomas
yeah.
Ian Griffin.
Yeah.
You
There's a
believe
big
it.
age difference there. Yeah, it's kind of wild that they would do that too. I mean, he's just such an interesting character that they would the way they portray him in that third film, and I think later on how they portray him in the show. It's interesting how they gave him more humanity, and that is kind of a trend with a lot of times with Hollywood now. Is I don't always mind it, but there is this trend with films where villains can't just be villains anymore. They have to have layers to them. And layers is one thing, but I meant likable layers. And I think that's just something I've noticed, like in movies lately. It's always like you can't just have Megatron or the Joker. You've got to
Oh yeah.
have, well, there's a reason they were this way, and I don't know. Sometimes I
Well,
like
well,
it, sometimes I don't. But
well. I mean, it makes sense for like having like the long format of Cobra Kai
yeah,
that you need to expand upon it. You need to give like these little like explanations as to why. So some people be like, I don't understand why he's so why because when you
right,
watch something long enough, you start asking these questions.
sure. You
So
need a little
you
more. Yeah,
yeah.
he can't just be
So
evil sneaking around the bush. There has to be,
yeah,
yeah,
like Halloween 6 doesn't get discussed because you can't do that in the first one or you just screwed the whole pooch.
yeah, exactly. That's true. You got to
It,
go a little
you,
wild.
you gotta have a lot of questions, a lot of like curiosity. Be like, okay, let's give him a why, and they're like, I don't like that why. It's like, well, then you should have been asking the questions, damn it.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah,
You can't ask. You have to be accepting of the mystery if you don't,
yeah.
otherwise you start asking. Um, so the thing about Cobra Kai that I found interesting, and I'm not going to talk about the next Karate Kid or the remake today, so I don't care. I'm
Well,
not really a fan of either.
until the movie comes out, we don't know if it's actually directly connected to the Miyagi verse or if it's just an offshoot. So it
Yeah,
makes sense because Hilary Swank did not show up in this last season.
she
There's no
didn't.
reason to talk about the next Karate Kid.
Yeah, I thought she would. I really did. I thought with the whole girls thing, with like Tori and Sam and all, I thought they're gonna need somebody in there that's like the
Well,
baby face teacher, But
well, maybe she got butthurt. Maybe she was just like they did a better job with those girls than they did with me.
yeah, that's true. Honestly, and they did. I mean, yeah, even for what I remember of that the next Karate Kid, she was not. They did way better with the characters in Cobra Kai for sure.
Well, she
Um,
was not. I think she like in a non-Johnny way where Johnny could do it and it comes off like, oh, he's just being an idiot. I think she says like a mean thing to Miyagi where she's like, you can't even speak English right. I'm like, whoa,
it's like wrong. Yeah, that's
don't be saying that.
it's
You're not
not
a,
just bully. It's like yeah,
it,
that's yeah.
it's like Johnny can get away with it because Johnny's aloof.
He's an idiot.
He
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But
What did you notice that? So How I Met Your Mother had
oh yeah,
they had William Zabka on. I think they had Ralph Macchio on. And there's a plot in this show where Barney Stinson, one of the characters, he says that Johnny Lawrence was the good guy of the Karate Kid. And this is like 2007, 8, right? Years ago.
yeah.
And so when Cobra Kai happened, I just thought it was funny because I thought they had to have watched that show to like that had to have been some kind of influence on them, the creators of Cobra Kai.
But I was trying. I think. Well, I'm trying to remember. Did you ever watch the music video called
I've
"Sweep the
heard of
Leg"?
it. I've heard of it. I can't remember if I've seen it. I don't know if I ever actually watched that.
I think the "Sweep the Leg" came out first because it was kind of like kind of a little bit. It was like a little bit of like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a concept
Sure.
short film, a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of the idea that would blossom into Cobra Kai. So but then you saw like them on How I Met Your Mother, and there was
Right.
still like that little bit of like between Zapka and Machio, which I mean, uh, what took them so long to figure? I mean, in a roundabout way, it made sense because Cobra Kai is like this like once in a lifetime like how many people have attempted a reboot or a legacy sequel TV show or movie and it failed, you know?
Right.
Like they succeeded
Yeah.
like so much that it's kind of like okay, they waited so long, like they waited the right amount of time,
Yes.
but what was it? I think that the creators of the show met up with Zapka and they were like they pitched it to him and he was like, I'm on board. Like, what are you guys doing next? Oh, we're gonna go talk to Ralph. And he's like, good luck.
Huh.
He's like,
I guess he's probably the hardball on that stuff. I could see that. That would make sense. Even it's kind of funny. It even adds to their characters because Johnny would totally say yes to the money, and Ralph
oh,
Macchio would be like, "Well, do we want as Daniel he would be hesitant, So that's kind of funny that they would do
or
that
he's
way.
like, yo, I want to play, I want to play Johnny again. You got three movies.
Yeah.
I got two in a cameo.
Right.
I got
Yeah.
one in a cameo,
One in a cameo. Yeah. Yeah.
one in a cameo, which actually was the original ending of the first movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
they
when
just kind of like
when Kreese slaps him. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, I, I, okay, okay. Let's travel back in time for a second. When you first heard about the Cobra Kai show, what was your first reaction?
I thought it was fucking tremendous. It was like when I read it, I want to say it was like 2016 or 2017. I remember hearing about it and I was like, "Please God, make this happen." And but I didn't think it was gonna happen. I thought this is gonna fail or something's not gonna work. But I really wanted to see it.
Well, I think I saw the trailer
Mhm.
on YouTube,
Yeah.
and then I realized that it was on YouTube Red.
Oh yeah, that old platform, right?
Yeah, yeah, and then I was like, "What? How the hell is this going? Wait,
Yeah.
what?"
It felt
That was the
cheap.
well. That's when I questioned it. I was like, "Wait, is this actually a thing? Is this actually happen? Wait, what is this? You know?"
Yeah, that was scary, and I think I agree. That was my feeling too. Was I was excited about it, but I was worried. Like, is there money in this, or is this just something cheap? But I mean, to their credit, I mean, it was a show. It's a real show. There's nothing. It went over to Netflix, so it was legit. But yeah, at the time, you don't know because it would be easy
Yeah.
for the wrong team to get a hold of this and just do something terrible with it.
Oh, well, yeah, because you had a team that loved the series, that knew the series.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. They weren't like just somebody who was like given a job and then like they kind of like dismiss things because it's like, oh, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
They were they they used it as a source of strength as opposed to like, oh, I got to do this with this and connect this dot to that dot,
Mhm.
which a paid hand might be a little bit more like, let me like change the story up more.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it but I think the success of the show is that it is literally an 80s movie stretched across 6 seasons of streaming.
Yeah, that's true. Honestly, it really is. I mean, it's very true to the original. I think that's probably why people like it so much. Is it feels like that universe. It doesn't feel like a cheap weird sequel.
Well, because like I was thinking about this before, like if you could break up the three movies, the like feeling of all three movies
Hmm.
are in like either like the first season is definitely straight up Karate Kid Part One.
Yeah.
Which it's just a flip where Johnny is Miyagi and Miguel is Ralph. You
Yeah.
know, it, you know, and they're the heart of the show at this point. No matter what happens, there's some other parts. They're the heart of it,
Right.
Johnny and Miguel.
Right.
So, but then you have like like part 2, which is like life or death. You know, like when he's like Danielson, there's no tournament. You know, it's like because like season 2 ends with
that was pretty good, honestly. That was pretty good.
Hey man, hey,
that was a good Miyagi. Yeah,
I love
that's a
part
hard
2.
one to do, and not just Pat Morita, but Pat Morita as Miyagi. That's kind of very specifically hard to do. So.
Well, because what's the because part 2 ends with the because like part 1 ends with like the Cobra Kai winning the tournament. Season 2 leads up to well, Kreese comes back and things get serious again because you have that straight up villain.
Kreese
You
comes
know?
back in 4, so he is hinted on at 3 at the end, but
No. He comes at the end of 1.
oh, sorry, I was thinking of Silver. You're right.
You were thinking Silver, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
yeah, so which is like such like a soap opera like.
Right.
The only things have just begun. It's like and then like
Mm-hmm.
but he brings in that villain element.
Yeah.
Which all of a sudden now it's like, oh, now things are going to get pushed because Johnny is inherently a good guy.
Right.
Ralph is inherently a good guy,
right.
but they both have a tendency to be assholes.
Sure.
And now we bring up a straight up villain,
mm-hmm.
and then things start shifting towards like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Hence, big melee at the school, which I remember watching and going like, what the fuck?
That was intense. That ending is because it ends in a way that you think Miguel could have died.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you see that and they're like, oh shit, he's either paralyzed or dead, and that was pretty intense for something that, after season 1, I don't think we realized it would go to that level.
Well, it was just fun. It was. I mean, that's where we were like. It was legit. Like you don't know where the show is actually going to go at this point.
So this is where it peaked for me. Season 2.
Oh, season 2. Oh.
That was the peak. Like 1 and 2 is the peak. After that, it starts to do this a little bit. But even when it does that, it comes back. It has moments of coming back. But I would say as a whole season, I don't think anything beat season 2 because start to end, you're just like, oh my god, like.
See, this is where we're going to be different. This is like us discussing Halloween now, because it's going to be hey, wait, hold on. Now this is where I think is the season 3 is the either you love it or you leave it season.
It's weaker for me. I don't hate it. It's just not
the
best.
No, because this is where like we become 100% pure 80s, not. We're forgetting logic and actual like how things because like through pure piss and vinegar, Johnny helps Miguel walk again.
That's true.
Through no science whatsoever. He is literally saying, "Stop being a pussy and get up."
Right. It's very much like one of those 80s type. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. It's like he's Batman in Dark Knight Rises, where his back is fixed in that cave. And he's just kind of like, it's basically, but funnier.
Well, I thought this is where they start the whole Eagle Fang thing, right? Season 3. I think that's where I did not like that. It was so, but I wanted, it's just, Cobra Kai, Miyagi-Do, fine. I think it's a silly name, fine, whatever. Miyagi-Do, Cobra Kai, but when they started doing Eagle Fang, what was it? Miyagi Fang, Eagle Fang. I was just like, this is turning into like NWO, LWO, all this NWO Japan. Like it gets very confusing. I feel like the two groups is fine.
When you say it out loud like that, it's like, oh yeah, okay.
It's just confusing, right? But...
Now this is where like I feel like the writers are definitely like wrestling fans.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure.
Because you get this fall from grace again with Johnny, where he loses Cobra Kai, and now it's about like, I feel like it'd be Triple H going like, just follow the story, just let it cook, let it cook, because it's like the whole time you want to see him get back in the Cobra Kai gi.
Right.
Because like from like season like 3 to like 6, in my head I'm like, I kept saying to myself, this show is called Cobra Kai.
Hmm.
Cobra Kai is supposed to be the come on, come on.
Right, exactly. They start.
Which in pure wrestling fashion, it does have its payoff in 6.
Yeah.
That I say it worked very well because I legit popped in 6, for that moment. But but I think uh, and three also goes like super serious again.
It's very
Because they had
dark. Yeah.
because they had a fight at the house and
Hmm.
Kreese almost kills Johnny. Kreese gets his ass kicked by by Danny, and
Yep.
but
Yeah,
season 4.
and Chosen gets hurt really bad too at
Oh,
the end of 3, right?
oh no, no, he gets hurt in 5.
I thought he got hurt in 3 as well. Didn't Chosen?
You see, this is why I rewatched it because it can get a little jumbled.
Oh,
Chosen,
you're right. It is 5. He returns, but then he gets. I see. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Right. Because Mike
No, no, no,
Barnes
no,
is in that too. Yeah.
no, you no. They're such lovable characters. You think that they've been there longer than they actually are.
Right. You forget. It's like
Because he has 2 episodes in season 3 where
yeah.
he comes at the end and he's just like chosen, and then like he does the honk nose thing,
Oh right.
honk,
Oh, okay. Yeah. That
which
was
in one
funny.
moment you're instantly in love with chosen. You're like,
Yeah.
you know. And I wanted more of them, and then we got him later more. It's pure wrestling where it's just like they give you a little taste, like okay, we're gonna throw it over here, and you're like make you want it, and then when you get it, you're
Right.
like yay.
Yoo-hoo. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think that 4 to 6 in all of its ridiculousness, I love
Yeah.
purely because it's Terry Silver.
It's world building. 4 through
Yeah,
6, they start building a world. 1 through 2, I think it's still isolated. Even
it's the
1 and
Valley.
2, it's
It's
the
the Valley.
Valley. It's a karate tournament at the Valley, bullies versus nerds, whatever. It's that
Yeah.
kind of story. And I think that's why it's so endearing to me is like moments like 1 where Miguel, that's cafeteria scene where he kicks their ass and like stands
Oh
up for
yeah.
himself. I thought that was great.
Oh
Um and I thought it was kind of funny too, like how Miguel just like in season 1. One thing I wanted to mention about it was when he does the crane kick so nonchalantly, and he just does that, walks off, and it's just it's like a big fuck you to Daniel. Like, yeah, we could do this too, pal. But
um,
yeah,
but like I there's like the build up to Terry, like in
yeah,
those first 3 seasons, is
hmm
so good because they mention him in passing in season 1 when
hmm
because of his actions at the end of part 3.
right,
Cobra Kai is not allowed. In 2, Kreese references him,
yep,
as like someone who helped him out, and then 3 lays down the groundwork with the backstory,
yeah,
and then 4, it's a reverse of like of like of Kreese in a
it
way
is, yeah,
where it's like Terry is fine. Terry has turned his life around.
hmm
He is like he wants no part in this.
right,
Even when he gets involved, there's like a flip, you know,
hmm
like when he realizes that Kreese is just using him again. That's when
yeah,
that's when he turns.
yeah. It's almost like with Kreese, karate's like an addiction. It's
Yeah,
like he's okay without it, but the minute he gets involved, it's like a drug addict. He's changed, and he starts losing his mind. Like it's like I think it is interesting. Like he didn't want to do it; he had to be talked into it. But then once he's
yeah.
finally talked into it, it's like you shouldn't have asked because he's not the person you want to be dealing with, right? So yeah,
Well,
it is interesting.
and I love how they now the creators of the show, they love Karate Kid Part 3.
Hmm.
It's so because how much they gave the Terry Silver, it's crazy. They brought back his theme music. They brought back, the playing the piano. I mean, the whole like. There's so much that they gave to Terry Silver. That as a Terry Silver fan, I was like, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Oh, it's great. And I think 3, I think the reason people like 3 so much is because it feels like the culmination of a story in a way with
hmm
the trilogy. I think and you also get to see Daniel like scared and having to really like, you know, it's almost like in 3 you just feel like there's no way he can beat this guy, you know. But at that point, and I thought that was interesting, like the thing with Kreese and how they turned Daniel on Miyagi almost, and he's
Yeah.
aggressive. I just think it's like it's just kind of like a full rounded story in a way to complete it, you know. So I think that's why people like it so much. It's not a perfect movie. It's got problems, but it's
Oh,
just a fun movie. I mean, it's tremendously fun, you know. So
but I mean, I think like I love season 4 because it's kind of like maybe like the Empire Strikes Back
yeah,
because the good guys lose
yeah, they do. Hmm. Yeah, because
and
Tori beats Sam, right?
yeah, Tori beats them because uh, Silver paid off the ref.
The bribe. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Terry throws Kreese in jail.
Yep.
You know, and also and
They become
I don't,
Miyagi Fang. I know that Eagle
yeah,
Fang and
yeah.
Miyagi Do become Miyagi Fang. So.
And Chosen comes back. Chosen comes back at the end of 4,
Hmm.
which I'm like, yeah. But
It
I
felt
mean,
like a
like
lot of are they aren't there. I don't know if you thought that too, but
what?
it with Eagle Fang and Miyagi Do throughout the season, it just felt like it was a lot of. I know they go back and forth, but it definitely in that one I noticed it was a lot of like, will they get along? Won't they get along? It was just that constant like. I don't know.
Well,
It almost gets jarring after a while. You're like, oh my god, guys, like, come on.
well, at the heart of the show, uh, the other like if Miguel and Johnny are the heart,
Yeah,
the second tier heart is between Johnny and Daniel.
right.
Yeah, because like you do enjoy them kind of bickering at each other.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
I mean,
mean,
like,
it is. It is. I didn't mind it. I just think it's like it gets confusing at times because there was a lot of. I don't even want to say heel and face terms. It was just a lot of like agreements, besties, and then they hate each other.
yeah,
Besties, then they hate each other. We're okay. No, I hate you. And it was
yeah.
sometimes just sometimes it was realistic, and then others I know it's silly to say realistic with the show, but there was others where I was just like, oh my god, like this is
Well,
too many times. Like just get along for a while, you know.
well, that was definitely the soap opera element of the show.
Soap opera. That's exactly. You pretty much just sum that. Yeah, soap opera.
Yeah, where they
That's
keep like, 'cause I think that's the added element. Like another, what is up? Come here. Quit being a whiny little baby. Come here. What's up? Okay, she just wants attention.
it's
Um,
okay.
but no, because like because I feel like that's like and because like the show is very like I feel like it's while it's also an '80s movie, it
Sure.
has elements of like wrestling storylines in an actual TV show. Which in
Yeah,
wrestling,
that's
people
true.
go back and forth, their face, their heel, their head. They left this person, now they're with that person, very
Right.
back and forth all around. And
Hmm.
the fighting element of the show really brings out like the wrestling soap opera aspect of it, I feel.
Yeah, it becomes dramatic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So then we go into season 5. I know that's when Terry Silver is like in charge of Cobra Kai. He's the without a doubt the bad guy. Um, then you got Mike Barnes coming back, which was kind of funny. It's like not what you'd expect. He's like this salesman furniture owner who is the opposite of the way he was before. I think he's just grown up. Even the way they introduce his character, I think it's like what is it?
You,
Daniel like walks into he's sneaking in and he finds like a box cutter or something or what was it?
well, he's got like a saw. He's got like a table
It's
saw.
table saw. Yeah, yeah.
But he's got a suit on. He looks like more like he's like maybe like an enforcer, like he's like in the mob, or he's like he's up to no good. He's
Right. He's
up to
doing
no good.
something dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which also it leads to with Chosen and Mike Barnes fighting,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool to see because you see like villains fighting each other,
Yeah. Absolutely.
and then the whole thing was like it's like we're on the same side. It's like, oh, then you should call an ambulance. Like what? Because he beat up all these guys for no reason.
Right. He's like tearing up the old place.
which goes to Chosen's like, if Terry's my favorite character
Hmm.
of like the older cast, Chosen is definitely my second favorite character.
Well, he's super loyal. He's
Yeah.
very loyal to whoever he's with, you know. And it's funny. I need to rewatch part two because it's been a while and I need to get a feel for that all over again because I don't recall how accurate Chosen was. Like I know obviously he's changed and grown, but it's like I wonder how similar Chosen was in that movie. I don't recall him being likable in any way.
Well, there's a thing that the Karate Kid, if you rewatch the Karate Kid,
Yeah.
Johnny is actually very nuanced. He's not actually a straight up bully.
Right.
You know, if you rewatch it, like our first introduction to him, he's on the motorcycles with his friends, and he's talking about like how he's gonna get his last year together. You know, and then he goes to try and talk to, uh, what's her name? Elizabeth Shue's character, Allie.
Yeah.
You know, he actually just tries to talk to her,
Right.
and then he gets into it with Danny,
Yeah.
where he knocks him down, but then he tries to help him up, and then Danny sucker punches him.
Yeah, he does.
He actually tried to de-escalate for a second. He tried to help him up, and then he punched him. He sucker punched him.
Yeah.
In the face. So, you know, and you know, so there's this elements there where you're like, wait a second, he's not exactly a bad guy.
Right.
He just has, you know, it is just, you know, the whole teacher student thing really in play, especially with in the tournament where you know, where you just say sweep the leg, and he's just like, what?
Right.
You got a problem with that? He's like, you know, he's got nuance, and then Chosen is more of like his thing is that he's just like he's a bully, but he loves his uncle so much. His uncle who has the feud with Miyagi.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just that Chosen feels betrayed because his uncle's changing on him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when he's saved, you know, when they like Miyagi and Sato, Chosen's uncle, are gonna have the big fight.
Yeah.
But they're gonna have the next day.
Mm-hmm.
But then a hurricane happens. Hurricane storm. I don't know what the geographical, you know, what that thing is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, and Chosen's all like he runs out of his hut and everything is just like it's like your uncle's dead, you know. And then Miyagi and Daniel save you know, Sato. Remember, he's like when he's got the thing on, he's like, now you fight me, coward. And he's just like, yeah, come Sato, come my friend, come here. You know, he saves him, and he has an epiphany that maybe he's been wrong about this. Uncle, I thought you were dead. And you know, Daniel goes and saves the kid.
Yeah.
And he's like, go help him. I cannot. He's just, you know, he's having like he's having an existential crisis.
Yeah.
You know, he's having epiphany. You know,
Mm-hmm.
And then when Sato says to him, "Now I am dead to you," it's like, and then he runs away and he looks at Danny. He has a death eye. He's like, yeah, running all funny like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's betrayed by his uncle. He felt betrayed by his uncle, and he took it out on Daniel because he felt like he got showed up by Daniel.
Yeah, and he's young.
He's young, so it was just a whole like, you know. If anything, it was just kind of like gleefully. It was like, you know, that kind of thing. Where like you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot about maturity with stuff like that. You can grow up to be a way nicer person sometimes, or self-aware, you know. And I think this show is good about like people being self-aware to an extent. Like it's good about them understanding, you know, that progression.
Well, also with Chosen, he realized he had to atone for how far he took things into, you know.
Right.
Because he was going to kill Daniel.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
And he
definitely was, yeah.
You know, which, I mean, I don't know. I love to. I don't know what I just love to so much.
It is
I
good.
loved it.
It's been a while since I've seen it. I mean, it's my least favorite of the three, but it's not. That's
Oh
not to say
yeah,
it's a bad movie or anything. Yeah, I know. In this one, you've got the Sakai Taikai thing.
yeah.
That's when this goes from being the All Valley tournament to, oh, this is like a world championship thing, which is interesting. I wonder, it's weird seeing this now because it makes you wonder sometimes if they had continued the series, or if three, maybe they had ever thought about that, like the idea of making it outside the valley, or if it was always just a story in the valley, you know.
Hmm.
Because I know, what is it, John G. Alvinson? I know he did one, and I think he did three.
He did all of them.
He did all of them. Oh, he did two as well. Yeah. So, you got to wonder if it was just always in his mind to be a Valley set movie series, or if he
Yeah.
thought there'd be more. But yeah, it's that concept comes out. That's kind of interesting. And then this is where you have the house fight with the senseis. I remember this now because this is where Chosen gets injured, right?
Yeah, in five. Yeah, yeah.
Season five. Yeah,
Well,
I remember
well,
this now.
this
Yeah.
was it was actually I think that despite there's like some great fight scenes in the show, I think that that's my favorite
Hmm.
because like what's it like because like they laid the groundwork between Chosen and Silver
Hmm.
throughout the season that they were gonna like maybe fight,
Yeah.
and then I don't know at that moment I was like we have left. This is not the Miyagi verse. This is its own little freaking karate movie happening right now.
It really is. Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah.
and I just thought it was like, I'm not afraid to die. All that kind of, He's like,
Hmm.
I just like, there's something about it where I was just like, I'm into this. And then
Oh
when you
yeah.
find out in six, which they planned from four, that uh, Terry was dying.
Hmm.
Because like in season four, he's at his house, and his valet asks, should I call the doctor? You know,
Oh yeah,
and I
you're right.
think
He does. Yeah.
yeah. And then in five, he's visiting the hospital. That was a thing. They planted the seeds, and then when he says like I'm ready to die, I'm prepared to die. Like
Yeah.
they laid it down there, and so in six, it wasn't like they just pulled it out of their ass.
Right. For sure.
Yeah,
They definitely
it's trickled
planted that
through.
pretty well. Did you
Yeah.
it's funny, this is the only I think this is the only season where you get um Silver and Danny fighting at the end.
Yeah.
I know they fight at the end, but do they ever tussle other than this? I don't recall them fighting
Earlier
other
in
than this.
early in season five or four.
Okay. Did they?
Four.
Maybe.
Season four. Silver kicked the crap out of Danny. Or was it five? Wait,
Yeah, see,
hold
I
on.
don't recall
Wait,
that.
wait. It was five.
Was it 5? Well, I know they fight at the end and Danny beats him, but
Yeah.
yeah, interesting. I couldn't remember that. Huh. Yeah, I know they had the big fight that's at the dojo, and then of course the big teaser at the end is Kreese escaping prison because he fakes his own death, and then yeah,
Once again, I tell you, you gotta love it, and you guys just gotta let it wash on over because like
yeah,
that's one of those
right,
moments where you go like, what?
right,
And then they get you back. They get you back. You know, it's weird. They're like all these little peppered moments, like you're talking about, where you're like the dip
yeah,
is that they dip and then they come back
oh,
immediately.
right. No,
So
absolutely.
which is just like professional wrestling. If you watch a show, you're just like, what the hell was that? And then the next segment, you're like, oh wow,
Right.
yeah, you're back.
Yeah,
You
yeah, it's definitely an insane thing to do this in a comedy martial arts show, but it's fun. You kind of
yeah.
go with it. I feel like. So then you got six, which is the final season. It's split into two. Um, you've got the Sakai Taikai. You've got Miyagi Do, Eagle Fang together. You've got basically they're training you for the Sakai Taikai. You've got this lady Kim from North Korea, and she's got her own little dojo, and her grandfather is like,
The Cobra
um,
Kai's,
yeah,
the
he's
original Cobra Kai's.
yeah, her grandfather looks like
Well,
Pai from Kill Bill.
who's actually played by I told you this, right?
I don't think so.
Masuka from Dexter.
It is Masuka. You're right. I didn't think about that. Yeah, when you look at him, that's so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny him playing someone old like that, but
Or evil.
right. This is definitely like, you're setting up the end. You've got Daniel and Johnny. They kind of have their moments where they're enemies, and then they're friends, they're enemies, and then I think they finally get to the point where they're enemies, and they're like, we'll do the tournament, and then we're done. So it's kind of like this, okay, we'll deal with each other type thing.
What what I like about like six is the what's the word? I'm trying to find the words here.
Mm-hmm.
It's part one.
Yeah.
It's the Kumite from Bloodsport.
Yeah.
And then it's also American Gladiators. Because you got like team elements of it, and you gotta get points to win.
Yeah, it is kind of like American Gladiators. Yeah, especially the Sakai Takai thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan of that at first, the Sakai Takai thing. I thought it was just too. I don't know why. It just didn't feel as big as like the Valley tournament for some reason. I don't know why. But I guess towards the end it did. But I think it was the way they filmed the Valley tournaments, like in the films and all, where you're just like, holy shit, this is a big deal.
Well, think of it this way: it's because of like maybe your connection to nostalgia, and
That's
seeing like the
probably
mat,
right?
And you think like if this is gonna end, it should be in the Valley. So the whole time in your head, you're like, this should end in the Valley. It should be ending in some tournament in the world. I mean, come on.
Right. That's true. Yeah, I mean, but to be fair, when they actually have it, it is big. There's a lot of people there. You can feel that it's a big deal.
And the whole time, man, like I said, the wrestling element came back in. Where Robbie is the team leader, but the whole time I'm going like, yo, but Miguel.
Miguel's
It's like I'm yelling at the booker, going like, yo, book Miguel, put him in, man, put him in. He deserves the top spot, not Robbie, Miguel.
Yeah, Robbie is like Solo, and Miguel is like what's his name? Jacob Fatu.
Jacob Fatu.
That's how I translate that. We know who the real champion is. It's Jacob. It's Robbie. But.
Well, I mean that, and then Terry came back in season 6 after he got thrown away with the whole with the pool thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, oh no, now shit gonna take off.
Right.
And then the death at the end of was it part 1 or part 2?
Which death?
Oh, it was part 2. Oh no. One of the Cobra Kai's death.
It was part 1, very end of part 1. It was
Koi?
Yeah, it was the Iron Dragon. No, wasn't their name.
It was one of the Cobra Kai guys.
Yeah.
Quan, I think.
Quan,
I hope.
Yeah, it was Quan.
Yeah.
Kim's. Yeah.
Quan.
He's got the knife and then he falls on it.
Against Ivan Drago of the Iron Tigers.
Yes. What was his name? Axel. Yeah, Axel.
Ivan Drago. It fits. He's freaking taller than shit.
He's
a
big guy.
Yeah, your legs shouldn't get that high, you tall fuck. All right,
yeah, for sure. And I said earlier, I just realized I said Robbie. I meant Miguel is the best between the two. I don't know why I said Robbie. Miguel is the best for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's where, and I'm thinking, so season 6, part 1 ends there, the death. So you're thinking there's a death at the Sakai Takai.
No. Part 1 ends with Tori turning heel and going on Cobra Kai.
Was it 3 parts? It was 3 parts.
It was 3 parts, yeah. So part 1 ends with
3 parts. Yeah, you're right. 3 parts.
Because you have the oh shit moment where you're like, Tori's with Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
And then part 2 ends with the death.
Exactly, that's part 2. Yeah, they split up into 3. It is weird thinking about how they split these up.
Well, they're pulling an HBO thing where they just wanted to drag it out for viewership,
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how they did that. I watched a lot of recaps on it, and it's funny. I didn't really think about how they split them up, but you're right. Season 6, they definitely really wanted to stretch that out. And then of course you've got Kreese kind of turning babyface in season 6. Like he starts to kind of feel bad about his life, and he starts to have this thing that maybe he made mistakes and he needs to reconcile with people, and
I'm a little late, motherfucker. You have to wait till a fucking kid got stabbed to death. You know, it's like where are we? We're halfway across the world, and you decide to have an epiphany now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a
I was
little bit late, right?
like if he wasn't so good, if Martin Cove
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like a quality actor,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would have bought it that in those last few episodes where he's actually like emoting.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
Yeah,
like it's
he's
like
good. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
like in
hard
his
to
head
believe that. Yeah.
he's like I'm allowed to act. I'm allowed to act, guys. I can
Right.
act.
I'm actually getting to do something. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot more believable than Terry Silver because they try that for a second with Terry Silver, not totally, but he goes to Daniel's house with Johnny, and then he's like sitting there saying that he's dying and this is like all he has left, and they kind of do this thing where he's not that he's a good guy, but you almost start to feel somewhat sympathy for him in a way.
Well, you understand why he's pushing it to the limit.
Right.
That's
Mm-hmm.
that's all it is. Because in your head you're like, why is he still pushing it? The kid died. It's because he has
Right.
nothing else to go home to.
Right.
Which and I wish that they enhanced the Kenny Silver relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Because I loved Kenny from season 4 and season 5.
Yeah, that kind of fell short. They kind of fell off. I was expecting even more from him. I think by the end.
Well, they because like towards the end they started veering towards the original cast.
That was who the yeah. A lot
Yeah,
of the newer ones they took out.
yeah.
Yeah.
They mention them. They have them. It's like they're very prevalent in the first two parts, and in the third part they're literally in the background.
Yeah, like Devin, she's only in it for just a minute.
But she was so. But when you watch 6 part 1 to 3,
Mm-hmm.
it does flow and it does feel like everyone got their time. But it's because they chopped it up that it
Right.
feels funnier.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
because
it's.
Devin had a lot of moments with Johnny.
Mhm.
Kenny had a lot of moments. You know, Karate Kid Jr. He had moments, even though I'm like, you could just stayed fat and eating freaking Cheetos,
Anthony,
man. Yeah, I don't know.
Anthony.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was not a fan of him.
Anthony.
I, I was
I
not a
like
fan
him.
of him either. I didn't like that at all. Yeah.
It took a while for me to even like him. Like it was like that.
Yeah.
Like what I don't. It took a while. It the fact that he wasn't as good as Karate and just kind of like kind of like that kind of made me like him. I was like, okay, he's not just magically getting it. He's still not one of the best.
It took me a while to tolerate Sam. I didn't love Sam. His kids were not the most likable at all. I feel like it's like Miguel to me is the most of the kids. Like Miguel, Hawk, and like maybe like Dimitri. That's like the ones that I always like the most. Robbie's not even in the top 3, 4 for me. I don't know where you stand with that.
Well, Miguel ain't number one. Miguel's
Yeah,
number one of the kids.
absolutely, absolutely.
I was trying. It's like mm, it's strange. Like I could say Tori,
I like Tori. Yeah, she's
but
cool.
like it. But if you watch the show, like the first 3 seasons, Tori is not like the most comfortable actor.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying that she's bad, but there's a lot relying on presence.
She's growing, trying to learn it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but she grows as the seasons go on.
Hmm.
Like after season 3, she's so much. Like season 4 is like I think is like her best season to the end.
Hmm.
It's like she does like a lot of like good acting, and I'm just like, but the first few seasons it was like definitely like okay.
Yeah, like her at the skating rink and all. Yeah, it's very yeah.
Well, it's kind of like a Paul. It's like the Paul Newman effect, where Paul. I remember like I don't remember who was like maybe Lee Strasberg was just like, if you weren't so good looking, you wouldn't be where you are. Imagine where you'd be if you weren't so good looking. He's like, yeah, but
Hmm.
but I am. So it's like,
I have this right. Yeah,
yeah, but what was
but
I think
yeah,
maybe like Miguel Torre. I was trying to think of the kids because I know there's more.
yeah.
I like
There's
Kenny a
quite a
lot.
few.
I like Kenny a lot.
He
Kenny
was
was
fine.
scary.
Yeah,
Kenny was scary. Like when he beats up Anthony in the locker room, I was just like,
yeah.
he's the scariest one of the bunch. When he was just, I was just like fuck.
Yeah, no, he definitely was. Well, his brother was scary. I mean, his brother got into it with Robbie at the detention hall, and
Yeah,
but it's yeah. I mean, I definitely see Miguel's at the top for me.
yeah.
I can tell you who's not anywhere near the top is Stingray.
Who?
I could not
Oh my
stand
God,
that
really?
character. Is like I get what he's there for, but I was like, oh my god, get this guy out of this is so silly. Like when he's taking the karate with the kids, I'm like, oh my god, why is this 40-year-old dude like what is this?
That might
But
be me in 2 years. I don't know what you're getting at, man. Like, that might be me. That might be me.
man, they did kind of use him at random points as comedy relief, but then they also had the thing where he's used to kind of frame Crease and all that stuff too.
Oh
So
yeah.
they did serious stuff with him. Yeah, what did you think as far as season 6 with the Miyagi CGI stuff? Like, what did you?
Oh.
How did you feel about that? Were you like no, or
It was something. I mean, the first one
hmm
I wasn't on board with.
Yeah,
Like when they did it the first time, like when he's like it's like the dream flashback thing, I think.
right. Yeah, they did do it before. Yep, yep.
Yeah, yeah, and I was a little like, we're going here,
hmm
but this like the second one
hmm
where it's like the misty, like kind of like the skeletons, and he's like fighting alongside Miyagi.
Yeah,
I fucked with that. I fucked with that.
that was okay. Yeah,
Yeah, that was okay
they did
because
a
it was a
better
dream.
job, I think, with it in the
Yeah.
second part. Yeah.
Well, also because it was a dream, So
hmm
I felt like that. I mean, I don't know. It just felt more dream-esque than the other one, where it was the memory thing, and like
Yeah.
it. And it was like it was a. I think it was used more in the story. I just felt like it worked better
I'll
because
have
you
to
needed to
look
make
at
a decision.
who did his voice for that. I'd have to look that up. I don't think that was AI, was it? I wouldn't think so.
No, if it was AI, then someone would have been complaining about it.
Yeah, that had to be an actor. I'd have to look it up who did that voice. They did pretty good. So
It should
yeah,
have been
this
me. Should have been
yeah
me.
right.
Get me in there.
Vito as Miyagi.
Oh
Um,
no, because they had to get the non-verbal stuff, like when he's
yeah,
like, "Okay, now stand on the floor," now stand on the floor. I know,
yeah.
that kind of stuff. When he did that stuff, he's like, whoa,
Whoa.
whoa. When he's making fun of Silver and Three,
Oh, that's awesome. Um,
you know,
yeah. So everyone's kind of preparing for college in the future in this. They're setting that up to like where everyone's going to go, who's going to be together, who's going to break up. There's a lot of that soap opera stuff, which honestly, it did surprise me at the end some of the ways that the story's wrapped up. I thought they not to skip too far ahead, but I thought the way they wrapped up the show, it was like the ultimate babyface win. Everything they literally lived happily ever after. Like if everything was great besides a couple of characters, right?
it was like a Rolodex of happiness,
Yeah, yeah,
because what was because in my head, if you look at the show on the whole, uh, everyone has a moment, you know,
hmm
like
yeah.
Hawk won a tournament. Kenny technically qualified for the, I can't say it, the Kumite.
The Sakai Takai, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
don't show off. Don't you show off. All right.
I had
Uh,
it written down a lot, so don't feel bad. Yeah,
like Kenny qualified. You know, because he had to beat Hawk, even though he did it like aggressively.
yeah.
Everyone had like a moment, leading up to it. Like either it was a character moment, like let's say Devin realizing that maybe she needs to, get more defense and maybe take a step back a little bit more.
hmm
That she learned that the binary bros, they needed each other.
Yeah.
You know, uh, Tori, Tori won finally.
Yep.
Sammy did this. Sam was doing Miyagi Do, where she's like, I
hmm
don't need to fight.
hmm
This isn't about. So she backs out.
Yep.
She bows out gracefully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was, I mean, it just felt like everyone like had like either it was a character thing, or like even Robbie,
Yeah.
like because like if you look at where Robbie started in the series,
Mm-hmm.
he was basically a street merchant, a street urchin,
Yeah, it
you know,
was. Yeah.
with those two goons,
Mm-hmm.
By the end of the show though, he has a girlfriend. He has like two. He has his father and a surrogate father. He's got a group of friends.
Yeah.
And then he has a career waiting for him at the end of the tournament.
Yeah. He's got that
He's
sponsorship.
got
Yeah.
all this like things to be like I could be grateful for. He didn't need to go out. He didn't need to go finish the tournament.
Yeah. I did like that Miguel won for the boys against Axel. I thought that
Hold on,
was.
hold on. This is what I was saying. Where the payoff in six, you know, where they turn it around and then Kreese gives the spot to Johnny and Miguel,
Yeah.
and they come out in the Cobra Kai outfits.
Oh, it was awesome. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It paid off because in my head I was like, yes,
Yeah, it was
Miguel,
awesome.
pure Rocky Four,
Right.
Rocky Four, avenge Apollo Creed, avenge Apollo Creed.
Yeah, and it's really them two. They're the heart, especially the
Yeah,
first two seasons. They're the heart of it. Johnny and Miguel are the two really. I mean,
yeah.
honestly, I would just say straight up in this show, there's a lot of the show where Daniel is just not a nice guy.
I feel like it's like Johnny's having to rise to the occasion,
Yeah.
and Danny's having to have to like is learning things about himself that he should just like not. It's like he's like, what? It's kind of well, no, I'm gonna change it. It's like they both have to remember who they are.
Yeah.
Like that kick knocked like like freaking 30 years off of Johnny's life.
Yeah.
He forgot who he was. He was a champion, and
Johnny's
Danny.
not. Johnny's not much. Johnny's not as much of an asshole as he thinks he is, and
Oh yeah,
Daniel is a little more of an asshole than he wants to admit.
yeah. He has to. He's got to remember that. He's got to remember that time with uh with Miyagi, which is why Miyagi's so prevalent in the show, even though he's not around.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
Yeah, he was always a hothead though, Daniel. He's always been a hot. He's
well, I mean
always been like that bulldog. Like he just goes off
well,
at the handle.
well, I mean that's why when you dissect things down a little bit, you're like, well, Danny, you didn't have to sucker punch him.
Right.
Yeah, didn't have to put the freaking water hose. I mean, in the during the Halloween dance.
Right.
You
Yeah,
didn't
that
have to
was a
do these things,
lot.
Danny.
You're right. Yeah, he did do a lot.
I'm just saying he was poking the bear too, so it wasn't like he was like purely innocent.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of when you revisit the movie, you're like, yeah, you're kind of asking for it there, buddy.
Yeah.
But what was
Yeah. Well, I think that character. He's very much like a Rocky Balboa in a way. He's like East Coast, kind of like Of course, for Daniel, he's a New Yorker, but I think it's like this idea that like he's tough, right? He's not just he's not a weakling. He's not like a nerd. It's not like 3 o'clock high or anything where
well,
like the kid
well
is a nerd. Like Daniel's like
he's
Daniel's like tough kid.
he's got some spunk. He's
He's
got
got
some
some
spunk. He's got
spunk,
some
right?
moxie. Some moxie.
Exactly. So he
He got some
always had
moxie.
that in him, like that fiery streak to be that
Yeah.
way. But it's interesting because Miguel, on the other hand, didn't really have that in him. Miguel was like this really nice kid next door, and I think just something came out in him that was like, this guy's a badass at heart. He just doesn't see it yet.
Well, when you examine the backstory of Johnny, it's the same
Mm-hmm.
thing. He was a
Yeah.
nice, sweet kid that was getting picked on, that was
Mm-hmm.
being bullied at home. He had nowhere he felt safe, and then he felt safe at the dojo.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's very interesting. I also like the whole Johnny Lawrence as a car salesman stuff. That was funny. Like that was kind of, I don't know. That kind of fit him pretty perfectly.
well, I mean, like it got to, I mean, like when him and oh god, Danny's cousin,
Mm-hmm.
Anush.
I know
Yeah,
shit.
he's like, okay, when he's doing the coup, and he's like, I'm gonna go start my own business, and then I'm gonna take Anush with me. He's like, huh? He's like, what, me? He's like, do you have a health plan? He's like, Anush. She's like, I'm just asking.
What did you think? So here's just a change of character here. What did you think of Kim killing her grandfather? That scene where Kreese talks to her and then she makes that decision, and that was really extreme. I didn't know what you thought about that.
Well, I think the everything with the Kreese backstory is a little extreme.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, when he comes on the scene, he is literally like when he leaves the story, when he blows up, things go back to like, oh, tournament, we're gonna fight for honor,
yeah, and that's the ultimate
everything
thing is Kreese
slides
and
back into one. We slide back into one,
Kreese
you
and
know.
Silver blowing up on that boat was just insane. Like that's like at first I thought maybe they were something was going to happen. It was going to be like a fake death, but it wasn't. They
They
apparently
wash up on
died, and
shore.
yeah, they died in that boat explosion, and that was crazy. You talk about crazy moments. That was definitely like soap opera season finale Dallas type crazy stuff.
Okay, I, I remember at first I was like, no, Terry, come back, Terry. Don't be dead, Terry.
Right.
Don't be. Like, I could give a damn about Kreese. I was like, Terry, no, Terry. But I like that Terry was beating his ass though.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
No. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was definitely just one of those things to where I guess there was no way around it either. Just because Kreese, like, even though he had reconciled with Johnny, he was trying to be better. How does that guy redeem himself, really? I mean, like, he did some
Well,
terrible shit. Like, how does he just go back? How does he become just a nice person who has a life?
let's play this. I mean, I think I heard something where somebody said that Kreese realized that he's somebody who won't, like, he's too far gone to actually change.
Right.
So it's better to go out in a blaze of glory because eventually he might just, look. Look at Silver. Like, I mean, he
Yeah.
brought Silver into the equation. I mean, everything that Silver did that was terrible was Kreese's fault.
Grace brought him in. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and so it's like it's befitting where it's kind of like he's taking him out. Yeah, he kind of gets a warrior's death in a way because he
Yeah.
goes out fighting
Right.
and he gets redemption. So it's kind of like, okay,
Hmm.
no
Yeah. I mean,
legacy,
it
but
makes
hey,
sense. It's I was really glad that they did the final fight between the senseis, where it's Johnny versus Axel, or not Axel, Johnny versus what is his name, Wolf.
oh yeah, Wolf, yeah,
Wolf. He
Wolf.
was like the sensei. I like that they did that the fight, and it's kind of interesting. Johnny doubts himself, and Daniel's got to basically use Cobra Kai logic on him, and then of course, he wins with the Cobra Kai logic. But it was fun. I thought he was gonna. I thought he was gonna do a. I thought he was
The
gonna do a
crane.
crane kick for sure. I was waiting for it, but it was kind of cool what he did instead. So
Well, I think is like and I feel like it might have been a character thing where he's like, I don't think he would ever do to somebody else what Danny did to him.
right.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's true, and it's not him. I think it was kind of cool what they
yeah.
did. The cranes, that's not really his style. So they did this interesting way of combining Miyagi Do, but with like the aggression of Cobra Kai. Like they
Well,
finally
yeah,
hit it at the end.
yeah, because it was taking a step back and letting them come at you as opposed to just like charging in head first.
Hmm.
Yeah, it all worked. It all worked out like very well, and I liked that we got to see Johnny win.
Absolutely, he
That was
deserved
the
it.
yeah. Like Miguel won, and then he won.
Yeah,
I was like, Tori had a pretty good moment too with the whole like "Welcome to the Valley, bitch." That
yeah,
was a good moment too. I mean, there was a lot of good moments
it
in that,
was.
like a lot of like great moments, and like
Yeah, it really was. I think, and Johnny winning was fitting. I think that was perfect for it. I mean, because I think, and as I watched the show, I kind of learned with the Cobra Kai that it wasn't just about like the attitude and stuff. It was the idea of like don't quit. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of what they stood for. Is like the aggression is just like get up, fight back.
Well,
Don't just give up.
or
So
if you want to like take that out of it, like you when you got like 40 somethings or people staring at 40, and you think, do I have anything left in the gas tank? And you be like, hey, hey,
yeah,
Johnny Lawrence, he won the big one.
exactly. Yeah,
I can do it too.
right.
I'm as old as the Karate Kid franchise. I can do it.
Yeah,
Yeah. It has that 80s, like, they feel like it gets you, like, you get jazzed up a little bit. You get into it. Like when
mm-hmm.
you're the best around kicked in, the training montage,
Mm-hmm.
which I was like,
That was great. Yeah,
you guys waited to the last
the very
episode
one. Yeah,
to do it up.
that was
And
cool. They did that.
they gave them the like Rocky 2/Rocky 3,
Hmm.
which I love that when they were like when they were like wrestling in the water, it just looked
Oh
stupid.
yeah,
Like now, like, yeah, we're in the water.
hmm.
You know,
I wish they would have done the final music from part 3 on the final fight of the season. I always thought that music in 3 was great, like Karate Kid 3. The final music, I always thought that was so fitting. Like if you go watch 3 and watch the end fight, the music is awesome. Like the
oh no, you mean
score,
when he's doing
yeah. Like they
he's
should
like,
have put that
oh,
on
it's
like
like, get
that
the
final
point,
fight.
get the point. He's like,
Yeah, that'd have been great. Yeah, he's like freaking Barnes out. Yeah.
yeah.
That would have been
Oh no, no.
great, but I guess
Oh,
obviously you want to do new music too. So yeah,
wait, to rewind back to 3 for a second, the
yeah,
fact that Mike Barnes inadvertently motivated Daniel to kick his ass in
right.
3 he's like when he's like Miyagi's all like, best karate still inside. Now time, let it out. And then Barnes goes, get up, get up, get up, get up, LaRusso. I
Your
own you.
karate shit.
I own you.
Yeah.
You know,
No, you're
he
right.
literally he pep talked him up. You know,
Nice. Yeah, he really did. I mean, and I think that's even Miyagi had to snap him out of it. It's like I thought that was interesting, the way they did that, and I just think that would have been cool to see at the end. I mean, overall with the series, when you were done watching it, are there things that you wish they would have done? Things that you kind of felt disappointed about, like maybe they should have done this, or you would have liked to see more of this. I don't know if there's anything like that for
I
you.
a selfish side of me, I would have liked, though we got a Johnny versus Silver rematch.
Hmm.
I would have much preferred a Johnny versus Chosen rematch
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah,
because like Chosen didn't get a lot of wins. I mean, he ultimately won.
yeah,
He found love,
hmm,
for him.
yeah,
But like, I just would have liked to have seen him take on Silver and won. Because
yeah.
Johnny, Johnny, and Johnny was getting the upper hand. But I just would have liked to have seen a Chosen Silver rematch.
Yeah, that would have been nice to see. I think the only thing for me, and I've told you this, that I would have done differently, I wish to God they would have ended the series on Daniel and Johnny fighting in a sparring match just for fun. Like, for God's sake, please give us the Rocky 3. Like, that would have been so badass if they both were doing, like, high kicks and it just ended right there in the middle of the air, you know?
I think we got that, but we got it in a completely different way.
Yeah.
We got them like sitting down talking about karate about the kids and like basically them being in each other's lives
Right.
past that stuff.
That's true. Yeah.
Like we got that, where he's just kind of like where he's just like when he's doing the fly thing, he's just like
Yeah.
got him.
Grabs it. Yeah.
Where he's just there like, I gotta deal with this guy for the rest of my life. He's coming
Yeah.
in and fucking up my feng shui,
They're always, yeah. It's like they're frenemies. They're always a little bit frenemies. It's like they have such chemistry. It's interesting just them together.
Which I remember feeling like bad for like the side characters,
Yeah.
the ones that we spent a lot of time with in the first 2 parts, but then they mentioned them in that little epilogue, where they're like, oh, Kenny's doing good, and oh, your boy's coming around. Oh, Devin needs to learn some defense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like okay, so I was like okay, because like you could like if the thirst for Cobra Kai like was like people wanted more Cobra Kai,
Right.
you could literally bring them back and finish up like their high school experience with Cobra Kai.
I guess you could. Yeah.
Yeah.
What what did you think about Miguel and Sam at the end, like the airport thing where they're together? Was that I mean, it was cool, but was that unexpected? Because I kind of figured they were just gonna stay split, or they were just gonna be friends, but I thought that was
Now he
interesting
had to
how
have
the can't
the
hardly wait ending.
no, it's the Karate Kid Part Two moment
Oh yeah, you're
where
right.
when Daniel puts on hold college to go with Miyagi,
Hmm.
on the trip. Hey, Okinawa. He went to Okinawa. She's going to Okinawa. It's like it's such like
That's
the like
true. It is a
yeah,
part two homage. Yeah, I guess you're right.
yeah. Where like
Interesting.
where like the things that you want to do, sometimes the things that you want to do you can put on hold to be with the ones that you love.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so I guess like overall with the series, how would you? Here's an interesting thing. How would you rank Cobra Kai? So let's say you've got Karate Kid 1, 2, 3, and Cobra Kai. It's four different things. How would you rank them in your mind? Like where would be the order of like worst to best? So what? How would you? Could you rank the four? Or is that hard? Like one, two, three, and then Cobra Kai. Is it hard to even put them in a list?
Are you recommending I don't rank them, Ripley? What are you doing? She's like,
she's
don't
like,
do it, Vito.
she's like, don't
Don't
do
do
it.
it. The
Do
internet will
not rank
not be
these
kind.
movies.
The internet will not be kind.
That's funny.
Damn, good. Okay, okay, okay. Um, maybe like 1, 3,
Now is this
Cobra Kai.
worst to best?
Oh, is
Like,
that what it was? Where's the
yeah, let's
where's the
do
best?
worst. Let's do worst to best. Yeah,
Oh.
like four, three, two, one. Yeah.
Now you just don't mess with my feelings now. Hold on.
I
Where's the oh
know that's hard because you like them all.
three? Okay, 3, 2, Cobra Kai, Karate Kid Part One.
Interesting. See, I would
Only
do.
because like as much as I love three, I gotta like like I can't just. I mean, I like where two goes, and I think that's where I gotta put it over a little bit.
Yeah,
You know.
I would do two, three, Cobra Kai, one.
But
I would
that's
say that's kind of probably where it'd be, and it's hard because I really love three, but that's so funny. She's wanting in the video, um, but it's hard because I do love three. But yeah, I would put one the best, and Cobra Kai's right up there with it. Two, I would just have to put on the bottom, but that's not that it's bad. It's just someone's got to be last. So
I think because like I put though I love three and but I love three so much because of Terry Silver that I
right,
can't as an entire film put it over two. Whereas
yeah,
two, I like the entire movie,
hmm
you know, and I just like that it's a fight for the death at the end of the movie, where it's not a tournament, where the stakes are a little bit higher. I just like where it goes.
it is literally a fight to the death. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
almost. Yeah, it's definitely intense. Yeah, that's really so. I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about with Cobra Kai and
Well,
Miyagi verse.
talking about music, the music on the Cobra Kai is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean the training music is good. I mean the
Hmm.
everything. I mean the music does do a good job of having that like that uh what's the word I'm looking like triumphant, but also at the same time kind of cool.
Hmm.
Is there something about the Cobra Kai sound this
The
score?
score, yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah,
really well done. Yeah,
yeah.
it's very. I think they did really good with it, and they did good with the music. And I think introducing like the idea like Miguel learns music from Johnny and stuff like that. It was kind of cool how they brought some songs in and
Well,
bands.
it's also a yin and the yang because if you listen to like the Karate Kid soundtrack,
Hmm.
it is very like kind of like like very very connected to the character. with Miyagi and Daniel having to learn, like, he's got to, like, like center himself, and then like the Cobra Kai soundtrack is dun 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 dun.
It's very
It's
metal.
very
Yeah.
Johnny. It's very Johnny.
Yeah,
Very
for sure.
Cobra Kai.
Hmm.
So yeah, I just wanted to mention the music for a second because I love the music so much.
No, yeah, no, it's great. I mean, I think the whole series is awesome, and I do want to see what's next with it. Karate Kid Legends, I don't know. I will watch it. I don't know really what to expect from it, but it would be cool to see the series continue in some way, whether it's a spin-off or something.
Well,
It'd be kind of neat.
I I think the reboot, and I think I've heard it somewhere else, but it's the same feeling I had when I watched it. Was I think the reboot would have been better well received if it was just called the Kung Fu Kid
Oh, that's true. Just
as
yeah.
opposed to Karate Kid, where it's like then it would have felt like maybe it's its own thing, though with similar, like stranger in a strange land, teacher, mentor, father figure, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting that they did Mr. Han in that movie because it made you wonder, like, if they thought about this in the future. Because they could have called him Mr. Miyagi. They could have just done a straight reboot with the names. But the way they did it, it's almost like it's very convenient now that they're doing the sequel, the Legends movie, because Miyagi is Daniel's in it, and
Yeah.
then Han's in it. So that means that they're acknowledging Miyagi. So I don't know. I don't know if they ever thought, hey, we could do sequels and tie this into Karate Kid when they did the
I,
reboot. I don't know.
or they just didn't want comparisons to you know Mr. Miyagi, like
Miyagi.
I think it's didn't because like what was it? It's like replacing Dr. Loomis in Halloween.
Hmm.
The staple character that you kind of like. Cause like think about it, the Halloween series never felt the same when they don't have Loomis involved, or at
Yeah,
least allude to Loomis.
he's the glue.
Yeah,
Hmm.
like in Halloween, like Rob Zombie's Halloween, just a little like not particularly digging it. You're kind of like you're just comparing him to Donald Pleasance the whole time.
Right.
Unless you're young and then you don't have that same feelings towards the series.
Yeah.
A young sometimes or
Hmm.
what your tastes are. You know, you're comparing to the original actor
Yeah.
by
Malcolm
bringing, but I think
McDowell is a good actor, but he's not. He's not playing Loomis the way that I feel like he should play Loomis.
it's
Yeah.
it's a little yeah. I'm I'm a Donald Pleasance guy. So I'm like I'm not having it.
Yeah. No. Exactly. I'm definitely Donald Pleasance guy.
but yeah. I mean, there must have been some forethought with that. They're just like, yeah, let's not do that. Let's not be direct.
That makes sense. Maybe they just wanted to do a reboot but different characters. Yeah. Um.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess there's a lot of soap opera with Cobra Kai, and there's a lot of action, and that kind of leads us to kind of our second topic here. So I guess we're fans of wrestling. A lot of people are. We watch wrestling. I don't watch it weekly, like actively, but I keep up with YouTube and things like that, and I'm always checking information. So I guess we wanted to talk about kind of the road to WrestleMania. What's happening with the WWE, the main storylines. So I guess what are you thinking lately? What's your thoughts?
I I, I love the element of damn girls like what are you doing? They're like, don't do it, Vito. Don't do it. Don't give your opinion about wrestling either. Those wrestling fans are bastards.
It's
Just like
okay.
laying on the table. No, I love that because like when Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble,
Yeah.
uh, because now wrestling's on Saturdays. Pay-per-views are on Saturdays.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the night of, I remember freaking out because I was like, Jey won,
Yeah. It's
because
crazy.
he's the most over guy in the company. He sells the most merchandise. People love seeing him.
Mm.
You know, he can tell a story in the ring,
I really thought they
and
were going to give that to Cena. I was so afraid they were going to do that at the Rumble, but I was surprised they gave it to Jay. I was surprised.
yeah, and then when he won, and the way he won, You know, when he pushed Cena off and you saw Cena's reaction, you know,
Hmm.
and uh, and then like the internet was all like, he doesn't deserve it, he doesn't deserve it. And then the next night on Raw, he has like a super duper like extended entrance to the ring because everyone was like, one more time.
Yeah. So here's the only other
Yeah,
problem I have with it is
yeah.
Jay. I think is Jay Uso one of my favorites? Not really, but I think he's super over, and obviously he's talented. People love him. My problem with it now, with what they're doing with him, is that they've already slated him for the second tier champion. He's already. I mean, Gunther's great, but they've already kind of put him in that spot of like he's the B team world champion, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's like if they want to push this guy, then they needed to find a way to make him the top spot with Cody or somebody. They needed a way to say, okay, this guy's over, we love him, he's the guy. Like that's my whole thing about it is like I know some people are okay with it. It's just I just feel like if someone's that over and it's working and people love it, like why do you want to put a handcuff on him, you know? I don't know what you think of that. Maybe you don't think that. I just that's all my only thought about it, right?
Well, because there's this story, there's the other element that what's the that Jay and Gunther have like met 3 times before,
Yeah.
and Gunther's won. Like he couldn't beat him for the Intercontinental title.
Hmm.
I think I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
I know they wrestled, and then it was King of the Ring,
Yep.
and then it was Saturday Night Main Event. You
Right.
know, so they got this whole like you can't beat me thing,
Hmm.
which story wise I just like. I like the
It's a good
idea that someone,
story.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm just and I agree with it for that for them laying down the work leading up to it, where it wasn't just Jay losing, it was
Hmm.
building up to Jay achieving something,
Hmm.
which uh, which is now it's entirely up to Jay and Gunther to make it worth it at WrestleMania because there have been cases in the past where where people have written off, no offense, have written off a match, but then the night of, it's one of the best matches on the card.
Sure. Sure.
Like Undertaker faced Batista, WrestleMania 23. That was written off as like what you were saying, the B title
Hmm.
that night. But then they went out there and they beat the crap out of each other in a very like big dudes, high impact match.
Hmm.
And they were showing like, hey,
I
just
don't
because
think
we're
it's the idea that the match is bad. For me, it's more so that if the guy's winning the Rumble and he's that over, then make him the guy. Don't treat the segments and the build up as if it's not as important. Like I mean, and I get it. There's only so many things they can do, but if you're gonna put this energy into this guy, then put the energy into the guy. Don't make it like. Don't be like, well, here's the
well,
Rock and Cody. Oh, and by the way, Jay is getting a world. Like you need to put Jay right there. Like that's the key. Like if you want it to matter, you have to show the fans that it's like the critical thing to watch. Otherwise, it doesn't matter how good something is. If it's
ah,
like if he's not in the main event, he's not in the main event. You know.
well, I mean, like, because WrestleMania is 2 nights,
Right.
so he might headline night one.
He could. That's true. He could do
Yeah,
night one. Yeah.
because like technically Jay has headlined a night of WrestleMania with the tag team titles, which I
Yeah.
thought was a nice change of pace. That the tag that gave some spotlight on the tag team titles at the time.
Right. Yeah.
Because so I thought that was cool. So they might end it with them with Gunther and Jay, but
I think my thing about it is that I don't like I know that it's a big brand and you sometimes you need titles, but I like the idea of one world champion, one guy, one person. I just feel like when you have two people like that, it's hard because someone's always got to be the second tier. And I know that it's hard when you have like so many wrestlers, so much time, whatever, but it's just tricky, right? It's always tricky to have a world champion and another world champion because then it's always just comes down to who is really the person, right? And the guy is always the person who's main eventing the end, like that's the guy, and it's like I don't know, it's just that I just like the idea of one champ, and I think it's always hard when they get in these scenarios when you have two people that you two big stories you're trying to push. But
I get what you're saying, but I kind of like the idea that multiple people can be that spot, you know. So it's not because like think about it this way. Uh, if you, like Cody and Jay are both over at the same time.
right,
This way, you don't have to put somebody out. They can both be over at the same time.
yeah. I mean, I do think the night one, night two makes it easier because, like you said, you
Yeah.
can do a main event each night. It's like a couple of years ago, wasn't it? Sammy and Kevin Owens versus the Usos, and they won the
Yeah.
titles. Tag.
That
I
was
mean, that
yeah.
was a big deal.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I guess we can go into the big thing: Rock, Cena, and Cody.
Well, they're interlocked because because Jay winning the Rumble from Cena
Yeah.
gives more weight to this moment. So
So I heard a lot of people on TikTok. I wouldn't say a lot. I heard a few people on TikTok say these theories weeks ago about John Cena going to Mania and then turning heel at Mania, like Stone Cold, kind of like
yeah.
there being this heel turn there. And people brought up The Rock. No one called this Elimination Chamber thing, though. I don't think anybody thought of that. And I was pretty shocked they did it there.
Well, they were laying the groundwork for Cody going Homelander.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he beat
And
up
but
the Kevin Owens match where Kevin got hurt. And yeah.
well, they've also peppered that in from they've peppered in moments where Cody goes a little too far.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he faced AJ Styles, he was about to crush his head with the stairs,
Yeah.
and AJ got scared and said, "I quit."
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like that moment was put in there for a reason to maybe lend into the idea that he's going to go heel at some point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that Elimination Chamber match was great, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was really well done because they had so many good spots like Cena and Punk. Everyone had their individual moments. I thought it kind of it does foreshadow the Cena thing though because at the end
Well,
you have Rollins stomp Punk and then Cena takes advantage of that, pulls him in the ring. So that's kind of like a
well,
heel tease in a way, right?
what I love about that moment is that it played it has some layers to it
Mm-hmm.
because when Seth does the curve stomp
Mm-hmm.
and you see like this look of desperation on Cena, like he runs over and just pulls him, and then when he locks it in, he actually yells, "I'm sorry," and pulls back.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So is he sorry because he's of what's going to happen later on in the night? Is he what's the big thing that's going to happen? Is he also sorry about this moment? But there's like all these like things where you're like,
What's he up to?
there's a lot of flavor there. There's a lot of flavor.
Did you think as you're watching it and the segment plays out, did you watch it live or was it how was what
I
was it
watched
like?
it live.
Where so that segment's happening. Rock comes out after the elimination chamber. He goes to Cody, the whole thing about I want your soul, do the right thing, let the dream live on. Cody drops the F bomb. And then so did you see at that point that Cena was about to turn heel or did you not have any idea what was going to happen?
No, because Cena got criticized for this, that he was a smiling son of a bitch the whole time.
Mhm.
'Cause he was like smiling in the Rumble, like I'm here, yeah, I'm here, and then in the Elimination Chamber, I'm here, yay.
Yeah.
So he was still smiling. He was still playing it up like he was excited for Cody until the hug, and then then life left his face.
Right. Yeah.
Was
Instantly.
just like, and like maybe it was so prominent because he's smiling so much, whenever
Mhm.
we see him, that when he does that, it's like,
It's
oh
scary.
shit. Which is it's classic wrestling. Uh, like, oh god, I hate to say this. Like when Vince McMahon wrestled Hogan. Oh, two problematic fuckers at WrestleMania,
Mhm.
and like there's this moment like when Vince is at the floor coming up in the apron,
Mhm.
and his like face is covered in blood. He just kind of comes up. He's like this.
Oh yeah, the smile. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then that look on
Yeah.
his face, it's
Yes.
like that look,
So
you know.
animated. Yes.
Yeah, that look where you're just like, oh shit, and then he does the thing, but he does it with two fingers. Where
Oh
at
yeah.
the what was it? Oh, what was it? What was it? What was the tag match?
Which one?
Cody, where Cody and Roman were
Oh,
facing
last year.
Solo. Yeah,
No. Oh
it
yeah, I
was.
know. I know what you're talking about.
Was that Extreme Rules? Was that
Maybe.
Extreme Rules?
Yeah, it was before Survivor Series. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
but there he did this to Cody and Roman.
Mhm.
He did three. Here he did
So
two.
so we're gonna get to the Rock part of it because
Yeah.
there's a
Oh,
lot. So
no,
that's a whole thing, right? So I do want to know with Cena, do you think he should win at Mania? Like ultimately, should he win the title or should Cody have the help of maybe a Stone Cold Steve Austin or somebody to help him win? Like, where do you
no, no.
see that going?
I kind of see Roman helping him win
Roman, yeah,
because Roman wants to take the title back, and there's all this like because like Rock's doing too much silly stuff where he's all like like it's like I want you to be my champion, I'm gonna have you take your soul. He's like, yo man, we bloodline. What's up? He's like, what are you doing? What are you doing, Rock?
yeah,
You know, and also it's like it all depends on Cena
yeah.
because like as much as I love seeing Cena in the ring, Cena is not what he was like 5 years ago,
No, definitely not.
wrestling wise.
Mm,
So I wonder if there's a lot of factors in him being a heel, where
right,
it was something new, something that hasn't been done, something the fans wanted. But also, when you're a heel, you're usually the one laying down the damage and
right.
controlling the match.
Hmm. He can slow it
So
down.
yeah, he
Really,
can slow it down.
yeah.
He
Be
can he
despicable.
can dictate it. Yeah, and
Yeah,
play up the.
I wonder if he's gonna change his music or the look because I want people keep talking about like him putting on a suit and all this. Like I don't know if he's gonna do all that. That would be interesting, but I don't know how far he's
Well,
gonna go.
there was something you said that he was gonna go heel like 10 years ago or
Hmm.
something,
Oh
and
right,
he
I
had
think I've seen that. Yeah.
yeah, and he had new music that's just been in the vault that nobody ever used.
Hmm.
So I'm like, that would be nice. That would be nice. It'd be like what was his name? Oh, I forget it because like there was some wrestler whose like music got reused a bunch of times, but it was like, originally supposed to be this one wrestler's music,
Hmm.
and sometimes this happens. They just throw
Interesting.
music in the vault and they bust it out later for somebody.
Yeah.
Like how like Randy Orton and CM Punk both shared the same theme music for a while. Like
Killswitch
CM
Engage.
Punk's yeah,
Really? I didn't know Randy Orton had that theme.
Randy Orton had that first.
Really? I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah.
I did not
So
know that. Hmm.
and I feel it's like it could be the biggest swerve. We're like, wait a minute, he's got so many dates left on his card. He's
Right.
definitely gonna win. He's definitely gonna win at WrestleMania, and then he
Yeah.
doesn't win, and he just retires right there on the spot.
Yeah, I feel like he has to win. Honestly, Cody's got to lose. I feel like this is like he's got to win. The only way Cody can win, in my opinion, is if you bring out Steve Austin. That's the only way you make that like a huge thing because then you can have Austin and The Rock doing their little thing. You can have him helping. Now, I don't. Someone online was saying like Undertaker. I just don't think that's as effective. I think it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but like Taker, he's already done that. I mean, yes, he did help him last year, so storyline wise, it would make sense. But I think Steve Austin would definitely be a bigger surprise, bigger pop for that kind of
Well, because
thing.
there's the history of Rock and Austin that would just
Right.
be
Sure.
immediate.
Yeah.
Like last year, it was just nice to see Undertaker.
Right.
Would we prefer Stone Cold? Yeah,
I think it was supposed to be, but he turned him down.
not enough money. I think it was.
Yeah, which is funny because they kind of like I don't remember who it was. Somebody, I don't know if it was Taker. I don't remember who. Someone kind of like low key riffed him on that. Like but talking about like, some people it was about the money, and it's like basically just digging at him, and it's like, look, he's 60 years old. He's done everything. He's literally made this business. He's the reason that wrestling is popular right now, and then that kept going. It's like, I
Yeah.
feel like if Steve Austin doesn't want to do something because he's not paid, that's okay. He can do whatever the hell he wants. Like, I just can't stand when people make digs like that. It's like, if anything, Austin is protecting his legacy because he doesn't come back every year.
Yeah.
He doesn't need it. I
Okay, then.
respect that so much that he's not a glory hound just to be a glory hound. But I don't know.
No, that's totally understandable. What makes it mean more? I mean,
Yeah.
like, because now I feel like Taker's coming around a little too much. But I love Taker, but I'm like Taker, what are you doing on the show, man? You know, it's just it's like you have your podcast. You don't need to be here messing with these kids. You know.
Yeah, I think that's probably too because Hunter's in charge. I think Hunter just wants everyone to be involved, and I think because he's friends with Sean, obviously, and Taker, and I think Road Dogg, he's trying to. I think he's got a crew of people that he wants around. I don't know if Taker's
Yeah.
gonna be like. It does feel like they're grooming Taker to be some sort of like permanent fixture, like a not a coach, but he's around. Like you said, he's around so much. You're just thinking like, what are they about to do with him, right? Because it's not like he's just retired to be retired. I mean, I've seen him
Well,
on YouTube and TV a lot. It seems like so.
he's on that like the new Tough Enough, right?
Oh yeah, LFG. Yeah, so he is
Yeah.
a coach on that. That's true. Yeah.
They can
So,
call it whatever they want. It's Tough Enough. I don't know what they're trying to do.
oh, it really is tough enough. Yeah, that's the one where didn't they get Bully Ray as a coach?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm not a Bubba Ray Dudley fan at all. I thought that was like, oh my god, like he's the only guy in that group. Like everyone else, I saw like I know they got like Booker T, Mickey James. This is all cool. When I saw Bubba Ray Dudley, I was like, oh my god, why this hardcore Holly wannabe? He's like thinks he's tough and he's not.
Was the I'm trying to figure it's something where like I remember Batista told a story where he fell on Batista and broke his ankle. But
Oh
when he did,
yeah.
but when he fell on Batista and broke his ankle, he
Hmm.
hurt his back,
Oh
and
my
he was like
god.
yelling at Batista as he was being carried into an ambulance
Hmm.
that he hurt his back, and he's like, "You broke my ankle. Why are you yelling at me?"
He's
It's
something. I
like
mean,
it's like your
oh
fat
man,
ass broke my ankle.
right? He's definitely there to play the hardcore Holly, like tough guy, Bill DeMott
Yeah,
role, whatever. Um, it's interesting though, like the way they've set everything up works. I think they've tied stuff up well, but with The Rock, it's like when he's there, I I do feel, and I don't know if you agree with this, but I feel like the difference in The Rock and Hunter is Hunter Hunter plans this stuff way out. I feel like Hunter is like a mastermind of like, this is who I'm going with, this is what we're doing, this is where we're going, this is where we'll be. I feel like The Rock, at some level, just does things when he wants to do them, has an idea and changes it, and then like now, it feels like what he's done now is he's taken all 3 to 4 of his appearances over the past year, and he was like, "Hey Brian, let's write up a way to make what can we do to make this work?" And then the Cena thing happens. They're like, "Oh, there we go." So I feel like this whole thing, like where he's in the press conference talking about, "Did you see this? Did you see this?" I'm like, I don't believe that. I think he's just making this work. And I don't think he planned this a year ago. I don't know if you disagree with that.
I agree that I think that The Rock and Brian Goldhertz, whatever his name
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
Brian,
Mm-hmm.
I think that they get an idea, and then Triple H and the creative team has to figure out a way to massage it into the current story in a way,
Yes. Yeah.
you know. And just to save face, they're like, "Oh yeah, we planned this." Yep.
Right.
And then you see Triple H over there with like a few more wrinkles in his head, like, "Yeah, yeah, we planned this all out. Wasn't like
Right.
us figuring a lot of stuff out. Thanks, buddy." You
Yeah.
know, and it's just to accommodate the big star. Yeah, that is The Rock.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of like
but
you wonder how that dynamic is because, I mean, The
now
Rock,
I
he's besties with the CEO, he's besties with Nick Khan, he's on the board. Like, obviously, I don't
well
think they're having screaming matches, but it's got to be awkward. There's got to be a little
well
bit of this like weirdness sometimes, you know.
I wonder if now this could just be me that because I watched that behind the curtain WrestleMania documentary,
Yeah.
and what like The Rock says is like different from what other people say in that same documentary.
Oh yeah, it kind of was. Yeah.
It's like you have Hunter saying like, "Oh, we worked as a team, everyone worked together," and it's like, "Me and Brian." It's like, "What?"
It's very
It's like
much
this
I.
literally,
Yeah.
yeah. It's very much more of an I or my guy, and they got Triple H over here with like the team together.
Hmm.
Cody did this, you know, uh, which I don't know if that was done on purpose because they spent a long time working on that behind the curtain thing, and they could have easily just like
Hmm.
redone stuff or left stuff out.
Yeah.
But to purposely leave it in there, it leaves this like what you're saying right now, this little division. It's like old school, like making you question the business. Like, is this The Rock just coming in and pushing things in?
Right.
Is The Rock just being a big diva?
Yeah.
It makes me, in a way, it also makes you want to see The Rock get his ass kicked.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
because you're like, who does this guy think he is? I mean, like you coming in here talking all this talk and coming in here like you're doing a fucking press conference. You haven't been here the whole year, man. You're not in the creative meetings. It's like, what are you doing here?
Yeah. Especially like I think the biggest thing that he's done to me that I just think is a bad idea is so he's doing the press conferences, which I mean, as entertaining as they are, I don't think it's a great idea to do that anymore. Um, he does this thing in the press conferences where he sits down and he's Dwayne Johnson, and he's
Yeah,
like, "We did this great story," and he's like, "Well, let's not talk about heels or baby faces. We're elevating past that." And I'm like, the thing is like we get it. Like we know wrestling is planned. We're not dumb. Most people do, but that's not why we watch it. We watch it because those moments that feel real. Like you watch Terry Funk in the 70s or 80s.
yeah,
You thought to yourself, yes, they're having a match. It's probably not real. But then there's also that part of you that's like, but Terry Funk is a little crazy. What if he really just likes hurting people and he's just kind of crazy? What if he
yeah.
does something? There's that element of like, this guy's a little nuts. And I just feel like when Rock does those things and he just breaks, he just opens it up like that. I don't think that's a good idea personally because I feel like it just kind of pulls you right out of it. You immediately you're like, oh, we're just watching a silly story.
Well, I think it's like the trying to bring in the Hollywood actor aspect of it all, where like
Yeah.
we just had the show, now we're going to talk about it.
Oh, you're
Behind the scene,
right.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, where it's a little bit like traditional wrestling is that you wait a while, and then you do a special DVD or a special program, and then you talk about the behind the scenes stuff, like you reflect on it.
Hmm.
Immediately afterwards is a little like, oh, that's a little weird. You
Yeah.
know,
It is. I mean, and I mean, it's not like they're gonna ever lose money. Obviously, they're the WWE. They're huge. I think I just hate sometimes. Like Cornette talked about it too. I just wish that he's old school. I mean, The Rock remembers what that was like. I just think, like you said, you kind of nailed it. Like he's been in Hollywood so long, it's almost like he's trying to bring those Hollywood ideals over and change it. And it's like, man, it works because bad guys and good guys. That's why it works. Faces and heels. There's always got to be a bad guy. Even Steve Austin, when he was a tweener or whatever,
yeah.
at the end of the day, Mr. McMahon was the evil son of a bitch always, and it's like you got to have that split because you've got to have them care. And I don't know. I think that's kind of a mistake in my opinion. Like him opening it up like that and being so affable and all. Like the Cena did great when Cena came in the press
Oh,
conference. That's perfect.
yeah,
He did perfect. He's like Cody. Cody keeps kayfabe pretty straight sometimes. So
yeah.
yeah,
Or he knows how to walk that line between like
yes,
not getting too much into it, or sometimes he like likes to like plant little seeds where he's like, I shouldn't tell you this, but
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And but also because Cena's gonna be doing more of the groundwork here, and I think that kind of like cemented that uh Rock's not gonna be here on a week to week basis up to like he was last year.
Hmm.
Like he is by him doing that little like by breaking more character right there,
Hmm.
it tells me he's not gonna be there like every SmackDown leading up to WrestleMania.
Right.
He might just appear at WrestleMania, but he's not doing the groundwork like Cena's gonna have to be doing now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That makes sense. I mean, it's interesting. He's definitely The Rock is such an interesting character because he's super talented. Obviously, he's The Rock. You can't like deny his talent, but it's just like he comes as I've gotten older. I've kind of we've both watched him so many years. I
yeah.
figured out a little bit of something about him. He's definitely the type of person to where he can dish it out, but he cannot take it. He cannot take criticism. He's got a very fragile ego with stuff. Like because like when he came out to Raw and Netflix and then he did the whole thing and then on NXT he started like cutting the promo and fans making fun of it and I'm just like, dude, like he's definitely that guy that he can cut jokes at somebody, but the minute someone makes a strong joke back at him, he gets pissed off and walks away, you know.
What was well, it could be also ego, like you're saying, ego,
Yeah.
because like though he's being a bad guy right now, he wants to immediately assure people that he's not a bad guy.
Right.
Like, it's a show, guys. It's a show. I'm not, even though Travis Scott, karate chopped Cody in the face on the floor and broke his face. I'm
Right.
not a bad guy.
Hmm.
Even though I insisted on bringing Travis Scott. That's besides the point. I'm not a bad
Yeah.
guy.
Well, Travis Scott injured Cody, hit him in the eardrum, which
Yeah,
I know
or across the
Cornette and them
face
were.
too. Across the
Yeah.
face too. Well, because he did like a pow. Yeah, he was like breaking the ice in Karate Kid Part 2, man.
Yeah. I mean,
But
for real, it's I was not a fan. I mean, I I think Stevie Richards said this, and I don't. He was like, Vince McMahon, as bad as Vince was, Vince would have never allowed that. Vince would have made sure this guy knew what he was doing, or not allowed him to just do something like that, you know. Or if he went to the back, Vince would have chewed his ass out for that, like for
well,
doing that to Cody.
or it's one of those things where like in the past, people that come into wrestling sometimes like when they attempt to do these things, it just looks bad. This is the
Mm-hmm.
opposite, where it's just like, oh, now maybe they were just kind of like, I think The Rock told them to lay it into him.
Right.
I think that might have been the disconnect, that they were listening to The Rock as opposed to listening to the guy at the back. Like, hey, just kind of, because it's one of those things that like, why? I don't know. I haven't seen this. I haven't seen the Stevie Richards thing,
Yeah.
but because of his position where he was
Right.
flat on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
Cody couldn't protect himself.
Right.
He couldn't give into the hit. He couldn't. I mean, he couldn't. He couldn't like what I mean. He couldn't go with it, so it's like less impactful.
Right.
He could have done something where maybe he saw him wind up like, oh, he's actually gonna hit me. Like stuff like that. He was in a position where he was like just left to get hit. So it's like, ow, that
Yeah.
was a bad spot to do it. And I think he maybe just threw it in.
Yeah.
Like he was told like, make sure you get him. And he's like, okay, where do I get him? Oh, there he is. Eh. You know,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
felt a little like, oh, it felt like somebody like a little late to the game here, a little late to the moment. Well, I was supposed to hit him. Oh, here we go. You know what I mean?
They should have rehearsed that. And also, I don't think really he belonged out there. Because I think Travis Scott, like, I didn't even know when they said it. I was like, who? And then they were like, the guy. And then I thought about it. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, that guy where the concert where all those people died. Like, I just did totally. Like, it just went over my head, sadly. And it's like, Travis Scott, I didn't really know who that was. So,
I was kind of getting a little like Dennis Rodman NWO vibes.
yeah,
Like
I
that's
could see
somebody who shouldn't be there, but he's there because he's pals with Hogan.
that makes perfect sense, honestly. That's a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
comparison.
Which
Yeah.
which also lends to the douchebaggery of this current Rock character.
Right.
where he's just gonna bring his celebrity friends with him to
Hmm.
events now to show that he's like, I'm here, you guys are down there. So
Do you
there's
think?
there's a lot of things that he does that makes me feel like you gotta be doing this on purpose because it just makes me not like you.
I think a lot of it is for the character, but I don't think. Here's my thing. I don't think they're. I don't think he is the mastermind he's saying he is. I think he's. I think he's ad libbing and changing things a lot,
Uh,
and I think he's making sense out of things that he didn't totally know were going to happen. Like he's make. I mean, he's a compilation of things. Like you think about even last year when he came out to SmackDown, faces The Rock. Cody gives up the championship thing to him. This is before it all blew up. It's like he's sitting there and the people aren't happy. And okay, how do you not know that's a bad idea before you even come in? Like everybody knew Cody should be the guy at that point. Everybody. And it's like it would have taken The Rock 5 minutes in Google to figure that out. Brian Gewirtz,
well,
anybody. Like, how does he not know? Like, afterwards, they pivot, and he's like, oh, it's this genius idea. I pivoted. And I'm like, dude, you shouldn't have done it to begin with. Like, everybody knew that Cody should have been in that spot.
it was so clear that it was a last minute thing because the night before, when Cody won the Rumble, he's pointing at Roman.
Oh, he is. Yes.
He
Yeah,
made a
you're
big
right.
thing about like because they were like, who's he gonna pick? And then like it was like immediate Roman, you
Yeah,
know.
you're right.
And then Triple H told him later that night, yeah, or I think it
Maybe
was like maybe
not.
that.
Yeah.
Oh no. Actually, I think it was before he won. I think that's the story. It was before he won the Rumble.
Hmm.
So he did that knowing that they're
Yeah.
gonna give it to The Rock. And then I think if Cody went into business for himself,
Yeah.
it was one of those rare moments where it was like, yeah, because it was the right thing to do.
Right.
Though he may have gone into business for himself, it was the right thing to do because everybody was so pissed afterwards,
Right.
and you could just see like Triple H going like, "I told you so."
Right. And it felt like Triple H was the only reason this stuff worked. It feels like Triple H is like that's the vibe that I get is that he's having to make chicken salad out of chicken shit constantly with these scenarios, and he's making them work. Like even the Cena heel turn thing, that does not come across like a Rock idea. That seems like a Triple H idea, personally.
Well, because I mean, like, it could have been them reacting to like everybody like because like the seating is having a hard time selling out at WrestleMania right now.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that. Interesting.
Well, because it's in Las Vegas.
Hmm.
There's some other things going on,
Right. Yeah.
and also like you could with the current state of America at this moment in time, it might be a little bit hard to get in and out of certain places.
No.
Who knows?
Yeah. No.
Also,
There's a lot
also
of
do you
valid
want to trust?
points.
Do you want to trust planes coming into this country at this moment,
That's
which is
valid.
fucking.
Yeah.
So it's gotta be like it's like let's put Cena in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize the seats were. I thought it was already pretty sold. I didn't even. I don't
Well, I
check,
think
but I
I,
just
th- I
assumed.
think
Yeah.
I think it may be that, man. I mean, there's a lot of vibing right now. I'd be like, we have tickets. I'd be like, yeah, but I feel a little funny going into America and flying to America. I feel a little, I don't know.
Hmm.
Like, I feel like that right now. I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
I hear a fucking plane go over my fucking house right now. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
So
but
what do you did? Oh, you did say something earlier was interesting. You were talking about him doing this and then doing this. So
yeah,
what is one? What do you think
huh?
one is? What is this then? Because he's counting down. I mean, this, then this.
Oh, you think it's a countdown?
I think it's countdown. Yeah, because when he did it at
Oh,
before
that's
there
it.
was three of them. There were still three of them on Elimination Chamber, but he had two up. So what is one? What is one? That's what I want to know.
Well, because I thought it was gonna be like a third guy type of dealio. Like it's like we're going down to like uh,
Oh, I see.
but no, but
Revealing
yours has a good,
members. Revealing
but
members,
yours has a good
maybe.
point too.
Yeah,
That
I see
it's a
what you're saying.
countdown. But yours is valid too. Where it's a countdown. That's pretty groovy too.
But you could do that with a member, like you're saying, like him,
Yeah,
Cena, and then a third. Yeah.
yeah. Which I'm like, but then I'm like, wait, is it The Rock? You know, is it? It had to be somebody that was connected to uh, either Cody or specifically to. Oh, it's Gold Dust. It's Gold Dust.
Goldust. Oh god, that'd be
Gold
wild.
Dust.
That would be wild. Yeah, I thought the other night they wouldn't do this. I was thinking about like, what if it was like Orton or somebody, but that would be kind of random.
Well, because he's already got the storyline going with Owens going into WrestleMania.
And then I thought about, originally I thought Punk because I thought to myself, Punk turning heel with The Rock would be interesting, like as like a corporate sellout Punk. But I don't think they're doing that either because Punk cut that promo and he's
Well,
obviously there's a future there with The Rock and Cena and whoever, right? So
well, he's also very over right now. I don't think they want to like. Uh, I don't know. I don't think they want to like maybe like hurt his
merch,
equity with the fans right now.
that's true. I mean, he is over. He's honestly, besides Jay, he's like the guy, really.
And also, he's that type of personality where he can pick a fight with somebody he likes and quit being bad. Uh, he could pick a fight with somebody that with anybody. He doesn't have to be a bad guy. He is a tweener right now. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to be a bad guy or a good guy right now.
That's true. That's true.
So,
Yeah, it's
uh,
interesting with that, and I wonder how they're going to tie Roman into that too. Like that's another thing. Like,
well, he's got the favor for helping.
what
You
is the
know,
favor? Do you think?
I think it might be something to do. I don't know if it's like a maybe it's like a maybe it's because I can't remember if Roman has had his rematch yet
Hmm.
because he lost to Cody. I can't remember if he's had maybe I might be completely wrong right now. Cody he hasn't had his rematch with Cody,
Hmm.
so maybe instead of Roman getting it, Cody gets it. I mean CM Punk gets it.
Punk gets it. Yeah,
Like
there's
that's a
always
favor
that.
because he helped out the bloodline. He's like, hey,
But see, this is where the storytelling gets weird to me because, like, when you think about that setup, in a way, you sit there and think that could have been something originally where they were like, okay, Punk and Cody, Punk and
yeah,
Roman, and then maybe like Punk gets help from Paul to beat Roman to fight
yeah.
Cody for the time. Like, it makes you wonder like how much changed. That's the fascinating thing for me is like how long are these things really in motion? Because like back in the day, like Vince and Pat, they'd book by the pool. It's pretty safe to
Yeah,
say like they planned that shit out like 2 3 years in advance for the most
yeah.
part. But nowadays, I don't think they can do that because things just change so much.
Well, I think that Triple H, where older Vince would change on the fly so much,
Right.
where Triple H sticks with things.
Definitely. Yeah.
Sometimes they should have changed faster, but sometimes he'll let it like hold on, let's give it a shot, let's see what happens, because a lot of it sometimes is the performers selling it, you know,
Yeah.
like because you can't create you know uh, Jay's relationship with the audience.
No.
That happened in the middle of doing a bunch of other stuff. It just happened.
He found something. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they go with it. They're like, oh, they're really into this Yeet thing. They're really into. Oh, they really love his entrance. They really love his entrance. So they get.
What do you think it
So,
was that Rock handed Cody last year on Raw?
oh yeah, wasn't it the
Because
watch?
no, it wasn't the watch. It's something else. But no one knows. No one seems to know what it was. Some people speculated it was a ring. Some people speculated it was like a lighter. Some people, I think someone said something about like it could have been Dusty's Hall of Fame ring. I don't, but I'm like, why would that? I don't know. That was something too where I thought that was going to pay off now, and maybe it still will. But that was something when they did. It was such a mystery. Like, what did he hand Cody? Which played off into an old storyline with Dusty in the '80s in NWA, where Dusty and Baby Doll there was like a letter or a tape or something, and the fans never knew what was on it, and it was always like
Hmm.
the pictures or something. It was always speculative, like what was there, what was on it, So it's kind of like an homage to that Dusty baby doll thing, but yeah, I don't know what that could be. I don't know if you have any ideas.
Hmm. I totally forgot about that thing.
Yeah, it was a big deal at the time, but it's been so long now that there's been so many other things that have happened. I think it's kind of went to the back of the big deals.
Hmm.
Plus, the Cena heel turn thing is just such a big deal. It's hard to get a lot of this stuff. It's like I don't want to say it's forgotten, but it's just like it's not the first thing on people's minds lately.
I'm trying to figure out what it could be because it's like it's got to be something meaningful
Hmm.
that I hope it isn't like a whole like 20-minute promo it's one of those like you hope you see it and you immediately get like a oh yeah.
Right. Hmm. That's where I just think I don't know. I just feel like The Rock is. It's interesting the difference in him and Triple H, like how they are, because I really do feel like Triple H is like a long term old school type, and I feel like
Oh
The
yeah.
Rock is definitely more of like an erratic, change on the fly. Honestly, The Rock is more of like a Vince McMahon type. He's
Yeah.
more like change on the fly, erratic. You know, this was always the plan. Wink, wink. It really wasn't. We just
Yeah.
changed it. Like I get that vibe. It's weird. And as the younger version of me, if you'd ever told me that I would think this, I'd be like, "No, man, Triple H sucks." But
Yeah.
honestly, Triple H is like the reason it's good right now. He's the only thing that holds. He's what holds it together, in my opinion.
Because I mean he's bringing the old school fundamentals with the new school and
Right.
mixing it together.
Yep.
Because if you had told me that Triple H was instrumental in getting like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and you
Mm-hmm.
know DY, Ciampa and Gargano into WWE, I'd be like a few years like when I was younger, I'd be like, it'd be something to be like, really, he did
Mm-hmm.
because he's a
Right.
body guy, and those
He
guys
never
are not
liked
body
those
guys.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah, you would think that was, but older Triple H sees great performers and great wrestlers, and is like, yeah, let's bring those guys in.
He did not like Punk. He never liked Punk when he was coming
Well,
in.
well, but Punk was skinny, fat, and a bit of a prick. So
Well, I just don't think he's got what it. What was that promo where he's like talking about and making fun of Triple H saying that when bed with Stephanie? That old promo they did against each other.
oh yeah,
It's
which I mean like,
yeah.
which is funny because like I think that I think they described it where they like it was kind of like a Johnny Lawrence, Danny LaRusso thing
Mm-hmm.
they're very similar to each other. They just don't want to admit it, and maybe they bring out the worst in each other. But now that they're older, they get along.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it kind of is. That's kind of a funny tie-in. Yeah, it really is. It really is like Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso. I mean, I'm interested to see what they're gonna do. I wonder where they're going with a lot of it. I do feel like Cena's got to win, and I think it's almost impossible that he doesn't turn babyface again before he retires. There's got
Oh
to be
yeah,
that moment, even if it's the last match where he loses something, and then
yeah,
he does that turn where the Hulk turn where he turns face one more time, and then he gets cheered to go out. Like that's seems like
yeah.
that's got to happen, you know. But it's hard to boost someone on their retirement tour anyway. And that's the other thing too with this is that he's heel. He's this thing that all these people wanted so long. Do you think he's at risk of getting cheered because people like want to because it's what people wanted for so long? Do you think that's a
Well, I think
risk of like, oh wow, we like Cena as a heel type thing?
well, I think it might be one of those things where it's like Roman,
Mm-hmm.
where Roman is cheered upon entry,
Yeah,
but then he starts talking, and then you start hating him
I
because of what
see.
he's saying. Like, we're
Right.
happy to see you. Oh yeah, you're a bad guy. We gotta hate you.
That's true.
Yeah,
It's like in
yeah,
layers, right? Yeah,
yeah.
that would make sense. I mean, I am pretty curious about it. I just hope that they have a good plan with it. Whether Cody wins or loses, I really hope they have a concrete plan and they stick with it. I just hope there's not some fuckery with The Rock going on that just messes it up, because I just, something about that guy is like,
Well, 2 years in a row where it's like because of your schedule, or you've come in and kind of like disheveled things a little bit,
yeah.
and then it's left for everybody else to have to like figure these things out.
Hmm.
Because like I, it's one of those things like bro, if you were actually this creative genius, you wouldn't have any duds in your Hollywood, freaking, you know, you know, filmography.
It's very true. Yeah, he's had a lot of duds. He's had some
Yeah,
money losses too with those, big
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Wrestling's like the only thing he can really control now.
Well, and
Really.
plus, but that's the equity. That's the time he put into it. As it's still good. He comes in,
Hmm.
and like I said, he came in. He was trying to be like The Rock. I'm going to come in. I'm going to fight Roman, and everyone was just like, "This sucks." And then he comes back and he's like, Armani wearing, can you smell what The Rock's cooking?
Hmm.
Final boss, and that's The Rock that I want to see.
Hmm.
So when he came back and he was just kind of like saying, I was like, I don't. And then we got a little bit of that after he like did the whole thing. Where it's like, oh, Final Boss is back. We're like doing the less of the weird talking. I want your soul. You know,
Right.
freaking Shang
Yeah.
Tsung. Yakuza boss Delio.
Yeah. I mean, I noticed in the press conferences he would mention like coming up with plans and pivots and stuff, and it's an interesting idea. Like you were talking about, like, is he doing this on purpose for people not to like him, or
Yeah,
is there, or it's like the idea is it kind of 50-50 where he's this character, but he's also this guy who's kind of got a little bit of a big ego, and he just does what he wants sometimes, and he doesn't like to be called out for it, because like there's always that, and that's the thing, you don't know because you never, unless there's like a big backstage incident, it's so hard to know what happens. Because like there
yeah.
can be tension without fighting. Like there can be like this unspoken thing where like they're booking a show, Rock does something and put something in, and then Triple H is like privately just like, this fucking guy, I'm so tired of dealing with him. Like, but he can't say that to anybody. It just makes you
Or
wonder, that type of stuff.
or The Rock's kind of like, I wonder if they're gonna hate me when I do this, and he's just like, yeah, me too. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
It's
Yeah. For sure.
like trust me, they'll hate you.
It's definitely like art imitating life, imitating art. It's like this whole. There's definitely some weirdness there for sure.
Well, yeah, if you ever get a chance, rewatch that Beyond the Curtain thing, or
Yeah.
Behind the Curtain thing. It's so like it's just ass backwards. Where it's like he's saying it's just so flip floppy.
Yeah.
It's like watching politics. You're just kind of like, oh God, what the hell?
Yeah,
It
and I
hurts the
think
head.
no, yeah, I did. Well, I think the first time I really thought that um with him was when he did that promo at NXT where he was like laughing about people. He was like mad that people were like complaining about him and Cody like hugging on Raw and stuff, and he was like just coming out there shooting basically with people. That was the first time I thought like, wow, this guy really is like super insecure, isn't he? Like he just can't
Well,
stand anybody like criticizing him.
well, I feel like if Triple H had his fingers on that idea, like maybe he just kind of like like just said it, or I think that they would have peppered things in.
Right.
Like hey, we heard that you and The Rock were hanging out this day. They would have done some stuff, where they would have peppered in a lead up to it,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
where it was like, what's your relationship with The Rock now? Someone doing an interview with him, and they're like, I don't want to talk about it. They would have done stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. It is
Like,
interesting though. There's so many people involved. I mean, and you think about the people who aren't in the main event. I mean, like even Drew McIntyre. The guy's having like a great run. He's as good as he's ever been. But it's like it's almost I don't want to. It's not When I say this, I don't want you to like think I'm saying this like it's WCW in the way, like in WCW '98, in the way that not that they're like doing bad things, but they have so many people who were like way up here that it's hard to
Oh
get.
yeah.
You only have so many spots. So then you're just like, who's going to be the guy? When then you get like 4 or 5 guys where you're like, wow, any of them could be fitting for this, you know? So,
Well, it's like they become a victim of their own success. We're like, oh,
yeah,
we have all these guys that are so good that could be inserted into this spot and they'll work.
right.
But then what do we do with them afterwards? That's meaningful and will actually be worth it.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So that means like let's say like with Drew,
Mm-hmm.
Damian and Drew are really going to have to put on a really good show at WrestleMania to make putting them together in a feud matter. Like
Yeah,
theirs is going to be more about the match than it is going to be about the story building up to it.
right.
Because we've seen them wrestle before. Now we just have a reason for them to wrestle again. So
Yeah,
that means that the match has to outdo the storyline.
right.
So
Yeah,
it's
a lot of that. I mean, like even Punk and Seth, like they're supposed to wrestle this Monday, this coming Monday, which depending on when we air this, I mean that would be Monday in March, early March.
yeah,
So it's
still
weird that
Cage.
yeah, it's weird. Like they're doing that already. I'm assuming it's just going to be the same match at Mania, but like you said, Roman's got to get involved. Is he? What are they going to do? Where's that? What's that match really going to be? You think for Mania?
See, I don't know. That's the part where I'm like, where this is where this is where story
Mm-hmm.
elevates match because something's got to happen in the build up to make it interesting.
Yeah.
So it's like how does Roman get in? Like it's like what we're doing right now, literally what we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
As fans, we're like, how does Roman get involved? Wait, how's this gonna work? How's it
Right.
gonna? So we tune in because we're like, hey, how's this gonna work?
I mean, they could
So
do the
we're
special guest referee, but they kind of did that last year with Punk. It was like Punk, Rollins, and Drew.
yeah, but that'd be a waste of Roman. And Roman is he's a needle mover, man. He brings in the extra millions whenever he pops up on TV.
Yeah.
So it would be a waste if he wasn't like wrestling.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess they could do like a triple threat, or they could do, it's interesting to see where they're going to go with that. I mean, those are the main things that I'm looking forward to. I
Or
can't,
the third guy is John Moxley, and it's gonna be Roman face Moxley at WrestleMania.
oh my God. That would be, man. It's interesting with Moxley Ambrose because as much as he's been a waste at AEW, just how they run him, it's like if he came out as Dean Ambrose, he would immediately be forgiven by a lot of people. I really think it would be like immediately just like everybody would love it.
Oh yeah, it'd be just be like it's like you never left. Come here,
Exactly. And that's
come
that's
here.
how that is. I mean, you think about when Cody came in. Cody was in AEW and a lot of times he was being booed because people thought he was trying to be this, hard-working face and people were just ready to boo him. And then he left and he came to WWE and he's like this face and it's like it was interesting just that it just took that location change and people were just like holy shit we're with Cody in WWE.
Well, I think Cody talked about that where he was like deliberate, but then it became such a point where it was like, oh God, we're stuck. You know,
Yeah.
and also like Cody did a lot of stuff that could directly at Triple H. Like he took shots at Triple H directly,
Hmm.
but it was more like for the love of the game type thing.
Sure. Sure.
You know, he came out on a throne, and then he broke the throne with a sledgehammer.
Hmm.
You know, and then he was all worried about Triple H, and then Triple H came and found him his first night, and gave him a hug, and was just like, "Glad to have you back." You know,
Hmm.
which I think is the old school mentality, where it's like, "Hey, it was just business, right?
It's just business, right?
It's just business." You know. Whereas now, given like the certain state of some wrestling, it's like that's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, I think anybody like that, like Ambrose, whoever, I think it would work in a sense, but
Yeah.
it is interesting how that change can be so fast. I mean, I don't personally see Cody as. I mean, I know he was a heel before. Everybody's talking about like this Homelander. I get it, like he's gonna be like this dark heel. I don't see that. I just Cody to me is like the closest thing I've seen to Sting in a long time.
Well,
Cody the way
he he stole one of those old freaking jackets of his.
he really
Well,
did,
actually,
yeah, yeah.
no, what was it? I think it was at Saturday Night Main Event.
Hmm.
He didn't have a robe. He had a jacket,
Yeah,
like the old school, like Sting jackets. I was like, he's going Sting right now.
yeah. I mean, and the way he is, like he's, he loves the kids love him. He's very like he's a nice guy, but like he can be tough when he needs to be, and he can like really like get
Yeah,
down and dirty, just like Sting was. He was nice until you messed with him, and then he was tough. It's
yeah.
definitely that Sting vibe. That's why I feel like he's better as a face because I just feel like he's naturally a face like that. But then again, I've never seen him be a main event heel, so I don't know what that would
Well,
be like.
I think the natural progression for somebody like Cody,
Hmm.
is to be a champion for a long time,
Hmm.
get injured, have to like fight and claw to keep the title,
Hmm.
reach out to undesirable allies,
Hmm.
and then he just becomes a heel because he wants to hold on to the title.
He won't let it go. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's injured, and then he starts winning. Then he starts going against his character. Then he becomes that fallen hero. So then later, he's like, I wasn't. I forgot who I was.
It does
I,
feel
I
like it.
think
Yeah.
because I mean that's how like Triple H was a bad guy, and he kind of created Evolution to hold on to the title
Hmm.
because he was having a hard time winning it on his own. But he was
Right.
still a bad guy though. He was a bad guy creating a bad guy stable. You could do that the reverse, where it's a good guy who creates a bad guy stable to hold on to the title.
I think it could work. Bless you. That could work. It's interesting with Cena being a heel. I
Yeah.
wonder if this will do that down the line. I mean, I will say that I do hope eventually, like Kevin Owens wins the title at some point because I feel like they set up such a tease with that so many times with him that I feel like at some point he needs that
Well,
win eventually. Like even as a bad guy, there's just something about that character that's like they have to pay that off at some point where he wins the title.
well, you know
Like
how they
that
called
title at least.
like Shawn Michaels Mr. WrestleMania.
Yeah,
Like Kevin Owens is like Mr. Royal Rumble.
really is. Yeah.
I think he's like headlined like I think like four Royal Rumbles in a row now.
Mm-hmm.
And then and now like Sammy's becoming Mr. Elimination Chamber
Mm-hmm.
because he had this street fight with Owens, and then he had the match with Roman the year before
Right.
where everybody thought he was going to win.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean
Yeah.
everyone's like latching on to you know a pay-per-view. It's like this is my pay-per-view.
Yeah. I mean, I think eventually, I hope they do something with him. It's just, it does get hard. There's just so many guys. I mean, there's so many options, and there's only so long you can do things and make titles meaningful. And I mean, you think like if Cena wins, like he's got to do something with it, and then I don't know. It's a very compelling time to watch because they've even with
Or
even with what we don't know with the behind the scenes, it's still very interesting, to see how it plays out.
Cena wins, and then Cody to get the title back goes too far and becomes heel. So it reverses, and Cena's a babyface again
Like a double
because he
turn.
went, yeah,
Mhm.
like he went too far, against Cena.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah, like he's like beating him to a bloody pulp.
Hmm.
And, he was like, he went too far, and the crowd boos him. Yeah, yeah, that type of thing. It's like,
My friend
see,
said
can see that.
this. So my friend said this, and a friend Adam, and he brought it up, and it's the craziest thing I've ever. obviously this will not happen. But you know who would be the ultimate third person in that stable for Heat with Cena and The Rock?
Oh,
Vince McMahon.
I have that already.
There's no
Keep
way
bringing
it
up that.
happened. But you think about that though. If they brought Vince out there, that would be so crazy. Honestly, that might they would lose sponsors doing that. That's so crazy. Like that's like one of those things where it's Heat, but it's almost like I mean it's go away Heat for sure, but it's like I don't know, when he said that I was like, holy shit, like that'd be nuts if they tried to do something like that, you know? I don't think they
It's
would
Eric
for the W.
Bischoff. Eric
Eric
Bischoff's gonna
Bischoff,
come back.
right? Yeah.
Eric Bischoff.
Yeah, I think that before Vince. For the record, I do not think they're doing the Vince thing. They're not going to touch that guy ever again. I'm pretty sure he's not coming back. But
Like I mean, like, did you see Hunter at the those videos of Hunter at the hearing for Linda McMahon?
oh yeah, where he's like sitting back there, yeah,
No, but you see him. He's like, I'm on camera.
yeah.
I know I'm on camera.
He's just locked up, like looking
I don't want
around.
to be here. It's so like because when they do wide shots,
Mhm.
Shane is on the opposite side of Linda, and Stephanie's on the other side of Triple H,
Oh, it is, yeah.
and Stephanie's smiling the whole time.
She
That's why it's kind of
definitely
like
is.
he's.
Yeah, she's okay with being on camera behind the scenes. Hunter, I think, is 50-50 on
Well,
it.
I don't think he wanted to be there. I think there's a part of him that did not want to be there. You
Probably
know,
not. Yeah.
especially when they start talking about certain things. He's like, "Wait, they're doing what? Wait, they want to do what?" He's like, and I think in his head he might be like, "I should not be here.
Well, he's already going to get heat
I
just
should not be." Yeah, it's like,
being the head of
well,
creative. He doesn't need more heat, with whatever, with
well,
politics.
because they're talking about like taking out like African American studies, and I'm like, I'll be like, get me the. I'll be like, I need to get out of here right now.
Yeah, it's not a
No,
place you want to be. Like, you
it's like,
don't want
Linda,
to.
what are we doing? Linda, what are we doing? Linda, what are you doing? What's going on here? I don't know I don't know any of this.
Yeah,
I came here
I,
to be supportive.
honestly though, as great as the press conferences are, I don't think they should be doing them. I
Yeah.
just think it's too open door.
Well,
I know it's
I
2025, but still.
I like the idea of for like the big four, like WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, SummerSlam.
SummerSlam, yeah.
Yeah, the big four. The big four. You know, I think I think that's worth it because it's like you could break it up into quarters, and you're talking about that quarter basically in a way.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay if it's that. It is hard though. I mean, there's just so much about wrestling is about believing and suspension of disbelief. I mean, it's like even movies, like when you're watching a movie that's really great, I mean, you're in a movie. You're not you're not in danger. Usually, you're not in danger in a
Yeah.
movie, but you're safe. But there's also that part of you where you're wrapped into a story. Like imagine watching like Goodfellas or anything the series, Raging Bull, whatever. Let's imagine halfway in the movie, like they just turn to the camera and they go, "Isn't this great? We shot this in 10." Like it would completely pull you out of it, right? And God, I don't know why The Rock doesn't understand that. In movies, nonetheless, you'd think he would know. Like make them believe, Don't
Well,
don't show them how the chocolate's made,
to piggyback on what you're saying, it's like when you watch a based on true story,
Mm-hmm.
and then in the credits they show you the actual footage or the actual person, and it just takes me out of it 100%.
Right.
It's like, oh, why you? They look nothing like that guy, and that's all I'm thinking about. I'm like, they look nothing like him,
Yeah. Your suspension's broken right there. You see it.
Yeah. It's like you couldn't just wait for me to get out of the movie theater. You have to go mess it up.
And I don't think it's not even, I mean obviously, I mean they're doing great. It's just you think about last year when they did that story, and this was before they did the documentary. You just think about that story building. It felt
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
There was real. Cody wanted the title. His dad never really won the title. Like you think about like The Rock probably was pissed that he had to give that up to Cody. And you think about like that Raw where he was like whipping Cody with the belt by the trucks, like that felt that felt like, wow, this is pretty heated, like he's cussing. It just, I don't know.
Yeah.
They need more of that. They need that. You know what I mean? So
Well, because I think that worked because you wanted to tune in to see what would happen next.
exactly.
It was that it drove that desire.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, what are we gonna do now? What's gonna happen now?
Mm-hmm.
That felt like, oh, that felt like the old days, or this felt like this,
Yeah.
it touched a lot of places where you could like want to tune in and not just, watch it later on clips online, you want to watch
100%.
it live.
Yeah.
Because
So.
that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. You can catch up online very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say like I'm invested in everything that's going on to where dude, I can't remember the last time before Netflix came on Raw that I actually watched Raw live.
Yeah.
And I'm like tuning in because I'm like, ooh, I want to see what happens next.
Yeah.
With a lot of
It's
different storylines. But that's me paying attention to the product and certain things I like, more so than others. But it's like that's wrestling. It's a buffet. But
yeah. What are you
with the
excited?
Rock
What
stuff,
are you very excited about? A lot of other stuff on the show, or is it mostly the main event stuff? Like, how do you
oh
feel
no,
about the other card?
I'm excited about the. I'm like I want to know what's going on with Chad Gable because he's like
Mm-hmm.
going into the like they're doing the promos slash movie style promos
Mm-hmm.
where like he's trying to figure out the ways of Lucha to beat Lucha.
Oh, right, with the Penta stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think they're gonna present him with a mask.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like it's to beat Lucha. It's like, oh, what's this? Cut. He's like, is he gonna come out with a mask next week, like some like like the Patriot mask, and he's just gonna be like, I'm gonna become Lucha. You know, I dig that because I also like what well actually I like Penta's doing too with like with Gunther's buddy and Pete Dunne,
Mm-hmm.
the smaller guys, but the intense guys.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
It's
Kaiser or whatever.
yeah, Kaiser. There's the word, Kaiser.
Mm-hmm.
I just like I like what they're doing. I like yeah. I think, but I'm still like a big J guy. But I like how like they're letting Gunther pick on
Yeah.
the other like likable wrestlers and beating them
Right.
up to piss off the audience.
Gunther's great. I mean, he's such a ring general. I mean, he's just one of those guys that's just. I mean, he's just born to do it. He's born to be a wrestler. Like that's just one of those guys you just see him and you're just like that guy's born. Like Eddie Guerrero, you're just like that guy's
Yeah.
born to be a wrestler.
Well, it's so weird. He got better at being on the mic,
Mm-hmm.
but he's not flashy on the mic.
No,
He's just more confident on the mic.
he's old school, kind of like Nick
Yeah.
Bockwinkel, that type. It's very like the arrogant stuff. And it was brilliant when he did the whole Goldberg Bret Hart thing. That was
Oh yeah.
great. Which I wonder if
You
that's
are my
going
number
anywhere.
one fan.
Yeah.
Th- It might down the line because like
Hmm.
Goldberg says he's gonna come back for one more match in WWE at some point.
Yeah.
But I also like that Kaiser does. I mean, that Gunther does like the like typical heel, old school heel stuff works with him.
Hmm.
Where he's like, I'm impressed that Jay comes to the ring every week because those people out there stink. Because he came out to the audience the other night.
Yeah.
It's like they stink. I can't believe he does that every week.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean he's an old school heel. He's not trying to get a pop from the smart fans.
Oh yeah,
Like yeah, I appreciate that. Like he's just trying to be a heel. A lot of people want to be cool heels. So few people want to be despicable. Like that's one thing I like about Drew McIntyre too, is like when he's a heel, he's a fucking heel.
he's a prick.
Yeah, like he does not play around. He's not trying to get a pop from the audience, and I think
Did,
that's
did
just
did you hear what he said about Cena?
which one, I don't think so.
Where he's like, like Cena's ball spot has its own area code.
Wow,
I
that's
was
funny.
like,
I didn't see that.
that is just shitty.
Man,
I
that
was I was like,
damn, that's pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah. I was like, fuck.
I did see the Punk promo where he was cutting it on Cena and The Rock. That was great. He was just going into them being frauds, and he's just Punk is like, I don't know. Oh yeah, you're bullshit. Yeah, that was great. I think, and I told my friend this, like, I don't know if there's anybody that's ever been as good as him on the mic as far as being like able to improvise stuff. Like, there's been a lot of great people on the mic, but he's so good at being in any scenario and like being better than everybody else on the microphone.
Like
It,
I want to see like Sammy and Punk in a feud because those two have very similar like making something matter
mm-hmm.
out of nowhere.
Right.
You know, like you can make they can make something matter real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Where you didn't think that there was any juice there, like they'll
Mm-hmm.
find something to squeeze.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. They would have a great feud, and I think the matches would be awesome. I mean, Punk is so naturally good, and I mean, I mean, he definitely there's the Piper thing with where he reminds me of Piper. I think the difference is that Piper, as great as Piper was, Piper could ramble sometimes, and my friend was saying that too. Like, he would have a little bit of rambling about him. I think the thing with Punk is like everything he says, it makes sense. Like he's going for something, and you can't mess him up. Like you can be in something with him, and he can pivot. It's not like he doesn't have to read from a script or something. It's not.
What was I'm trying to think of the rambling thing. What was I think it's like maybe because back then all of it was shooting off the hip, you know,
Yeah.
and maybe now they can figure out something and then shoot here and there,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So like him rambling is like I gotta figure out something else to say.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, that's why it's hard. I mean, it's hard to put him in the ring with people where they have to talk like that because he's so good. He's gonna outdo them, like, hands down. I mean, he did that with The Rock a decade ago when he got in those promos with The Rock. I mean, he was just. God, I mean, I'm sure Dwayne loved that. I mean,
Well,
that was.
or when Punk was doing his thing with Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so clear. It was like, bro, you might be able to chit chat on your podcast, but you are not hanging with Punk right now.
No, no.
And he
And he's
slapped
just.
the crap out of Punk.
Yeah. That I think it's just interesting to see someone like that. I mean, with Paul, I'm not a fan of Logan Paul, but I do respect that he's good in the ring. Like he's learned a
Yeah,
lot. He's
like if
done.
you just,
Yeah.
well, no, if you just shut up, I'd be like, go, Paul, go. But then he opens his fucking mouth, and I'm like, why you gotta ruin it? Why you gotta ruin it? Why you gotta ruin it?
He's a super talented guy. I mean, he
Yeah,
picks up the business, and even if he doesn't have a ton of matches, the matches he has, he still does great. I think that. I mean, I've heard people criticize like, well, he's not doing a ton of matches, and it's like, well, but it's still, even if you're only doing so many, that's an art form, and I mean, he's nailing it as far as like being a worker.
oh yeah.
But
I think like I like to like I remember he saved Ray from a
mm-hmm,
spot that was going haywire.
mm-hmm,
But then to flip that, he had awkward moments with Ray. Actually, coincidentally, he had awkward moments with Ray
mm-hmm,
in a match that people were really going down his throat about. And I was like, it's just one of those like, now this could be the whole thing of like, it's two reactions to things not going rehearsed, basically. Let's put it
right,
that way. Something didn't go rehearsed. He saved that person from possibly getting injured.
right,
But then something didn't go as rehearsed, or there was a beat off, and it just fumbles and looks really messy.
right,
And not good messy, because sometimes there's good messy where a mistake it actually just makes it look real.
mm-hmm,
It looks a little like, oh, we're supposed to beat, oh, whoopsie daisy, you know what I mean?
right.
Yeah. So he's still like, you know, he's still figuring things out.
He is. Yeah, I don't think
But
he's progressed though. I mean, like a lot.
oh yeah,
But
no, but it's one of those things like but everything that he does really, really well makes
mm-hmm,
you forget about the other stuff that he still needs to work on.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think he's ready to be like a main eventer. A lot of people say he could be like a main eventer with like Cody and stuff, and I'm like, I don't think he's there yet. I just don't think
No, no,
he's got that yet. But
no, because Cody, Roman,
mhm.
any of those top tier guys can have a match with a mid card or a local guy
Mhm.
and have a great match.
Sure.
I don't think Logan Paul can have a great match with anybody,
No, I agree.
and that's the difference. That's the difference. Right now, he's being nurtured
Mhm.
to grow,
Yeah.
and he's being put in the ring with people that know more than him to
Yeah.
help him. Like I've never seen anybody be stiff. I've never seen the Miz be stiff with anybody, but he was stiff with Logan Paul
Yeah.
because he was
That's
trying to.
true.
He's like, "Hey, what are you doing? Hey, come on, slow down, stop it." And he was like, "What are you doing? You're speeding up." It's like,
Yeah,
you know,
that is true. Yeah, he's definitely babied a lot in that sense. I mean,
yeah,
I don't think he can handle, like you said, like a jobber or somebody. I think if the guy wasn't great, it would be hard to work around it for him.
yeah.
So yeah, man, we've been going. I just realized 2 hours and 40 minutes. So before we wrap up, I did want to kind of give you a spot to like promote anything you're working on, anything going on lately.
I mean, I got um, blah, 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 they're still in that area where I don't want to talk about it because when you talk about it, then all of a sudden it goes away.
Sure, sure,
So I'll talk about it when I've actually done some filming, and then I'll mention the stuff.
that's fair enough.
Because I got like three things up in the air that I'm like, no. I'm very
Still waiting.
superstitious about that.
I
When
get
it's
it.
still in that precious area,
Hmm.
it's like, nah, I'll stick to it because it works out better for me.
Well, I
But
know
I
you're
appreciate
in.
you though.
Yeah, no, you're in the Power of Positive Murder,
Oh
which
yeah,
that's the latest thing. Now, when is that coming out?
no clue.
To be determined.
Uh,
Maybe this year though, for sure.
well, I mean, like Uncle Lloydie likes to uh, fine tune. That's why the editing process can be a little bit longer.
Sure.
So he's trying to, he gets very meticulous. He gets very uh, like an example. I think the editor told me that I had to come in for like maybe a line or two that she's not 100% sure I need to do something on it, but Lloyd wants me to.
Yeah.
So it gets very to like, like that perfectionist artist, like I just want it to be as, crisp as possible. So it's like, okay, cool.
Sure.
Which sometimes can be things can go a little bit longer. But at least they didn't just rush it out. So that's the catch. That's the flip of it. They worked on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it should be cool. Yeah. Maybe this year. Hopefully, that'd be fun.
Well,
Um,
I have watched it, the rough
nice.
cut of it.
Awesome.
It is the most, I feel, the most unique trauma film since the first trauma film.
Really? Wow. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
unique in a way that it might piss off a lot of people, and
Uh-huh.
and people might really dig it. It just feels it's one of those movies that you might piss somebody off, and then in a few years they're like, you know what, I really do like that Power of Positive Murder.
Is it is it just kind
It,
of different in the sense of the tone of typical trauma films? You think, or hard to not
different,
something you want
yeah.
to say?
Like I don't know. It might be Lloyd's Eyes Wide Shut. Who knows?
Wow, that's interesting.
I mean, there's a lot of crazy shit going on in the background, so just you could say it might be. There you go, right there.
Is an Eyes Wide Shut is a
I will
yeah.
say that right now. It is Lloyd's Eyes Wide Shut.
Wow, that's quite a statement. That's interesting. All right, well, I guess that's it for today. Thanks everyone for watching. So for me and Vito, we will see you on the next go round. Later.
Peace.